Just say recording. Okay, I think we are a go, so we can start the show now. Thanks for waiting patiently, really appreciate it. We've worked pretty hard, and our staff has, I should say, not we, I didn't do a thing, but to get our meetings so that we could be both in person and virtual at the same time, and they're all recorded as well. So we feel like that's the most transparent, easily accessible way for us to have our meetings now. So that was one silver lining of the pandemic. We were forced to go virtual, and now we have a combo presentation, and that's really good. So welcome to our June 14th meeting, and would the city clerk call the roll?
Alderman Lynch,
Here.
Alderman Berkowitz,
Here.
Alderwoman McAndrew,
Here.
Alderwoman Buse. Here. Alderwoman Patel,
Here.
Alderman Fader,
Here.
Mayor Harris,
Here.
City Manager Gibson,
Here.
City Attorney Carr.
Here.
Hey, thank you. Now I'd like to get the minutes approved from May 24th, if I could have a motion.
I will move to approve the minutes from May 24th.
Second.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, wonderful. Moving on, this is the time in our agenda when we ask for public requests and petitions. So anything that is not on our agenda tonight that's on your mind that you want to ask about or tell us about, now's the time to do it. Yes, come on up. And can you turn on the microphone there? And then state your name and your address for the record, yeah.
Hello, my name is Scott McCary. I'm a senior at Clayton High School next year. And this is something that I've been thinking about for a while now, a couple of years I've been working on this. I think that our city, Clayton, deserves a flag. A lot of great cities and great countries have their own flags. St. Louis's flag is considered to be one of the best flags in the world design-wise. It's the most meaningful, it's one of the best looking flags. And I think Clayton deserves to be right up there with it. So there are many different ways to design a flag. In fact, there's a small pamphlet written by a man, Ted Kay. He's of the North American Vexillological Association. It's called Good Flag, Bad Flag, and it describes the 5 basic principles for designing good flags. The first one being keep it simple. It should be simple enough for a young child to remember and draw from memory. 2, it should have only 2 to 3 different colors on it. It should not be too complex. 3, it should have meaningful symbolism, of course. 4, it should be related to something but distinct at the same time. And finally, 5, it should have no seals or text on it. Now, of course, these are all suggestions. They can, of course, have exceptions. But I've developed one possible flag that I'm going to pass around here just so everyone can take a look. It takes inspiration from St. Louis flag colors, the iconic red, white, and blue, along with the gold, like on the coin in the St. Louis flag. It has on the top left, in the top left corner, a white star representing the fact that we are the county seat, the fact that we are the financial, basically capital of the county, and the fact that we are pretty much the most important part of the county, the most important city. The fleur-de-lis ties us not only to the to the French heritage that we have in the St. Louis region, but also ties us to St. Louis itself, a greater St. Louis identity and region. The vertical white bar and the horizontal diagonal could represent the geography of Clayton in terms of the major roads. It could be vertical and diagonal wise, it could be Big Bend and Y Down, which bisects Clayton, as well as Hanley and Forest Park Parkway also bisects Clayton. It's very simple and it's very elegant, and the colors are striking along with the golden color of the fleur-de-lis. Now, of course, this is just one design that I have come up with, and I encourage as many citizens out here to design your own or have your children also have input. But I would also like to suggest that a flag should not be designed by multiple people by like a committee. It should be, the citizens should be empowered themselves, because when a committee designs a flag, it becomes full of compromises and it becomes very detailed and hard to look at. And this is not what any flag deserves, what any great city deserves. So again, I implore that citizens themselves submit their own designs, and something like a committee could vote on the best design if they want. I could even continue to look for, I've tried to look for some professor of art and design in WashU to have their comment, but I've not found any, but I will continue to look for a possible more insight into that. But I would love to continue on being part of this process for designing a flag, because I do think that Clayton, my home city, does deserve a very nice flag, something for us to rally behind, something to unify us, something to inspire civic pride in our city. Not that we don't already have it, but it would be nice to have a symbol for everyone to look and see, yes, that is Clayton. That is where I come from. And it doesn't take a lot of resources or time to do this. After you come up with a design, all it takes is to take a company, have them print out 4 or 5 flags. You can hoist them in front of one in front of the city hall, one in front of the high school, possibly the police department or courthouse. And that's about it. It doesn't take a whole lot. Maybe you could put it on the web page. But my point is, I think the benefits greatly outweigh the almost unimaginable costs of it. It doesn't really have any costs. So, and I would love to continue to be a part of this endeavor. I've been trying to work on this by designing my own flags, by interviewing both students at Clayton High School and adults in the community about flag designs, and I'd love to continue being part of this process. I will leave the flag here for consideration or further discussion at least, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. That's a really interesting idea. And you know, I can promise you that we will discuss possibly moving forward with some kind of effort in that regard. So we appreciate you coming with it. Really do. Thank you so much. All right. Next on our agenda, we have something special. Every now and then, many times really, I should say, Clayton is just full of wonderful, experienced, inspirational, unique people. It's part of the most fun part of my job is meeting all of these people and getting to know them and working with them. And that includes all of you out there. But tonight we have something special for a Clayton resident who is special to more than just us Claytonites. So I'm going to ask Mr. Charlie Brennan to come forward to the podium area. That mic is on. Hello. Chris. All right. So again, Charlie lives in Clayton. He lives in White Elm Forest. Has lived there 21 years. And of course, everybody knows him from KMOX. And I can say that my mornings just aren't the same. But, you know, I understand we all have to have our new face, right? So we're going to give Charlie a proclamation from the city. And so I'm going to, bear with me because I'm going to read it because it has so much good information in it about what Charlie has given to our community. So just bear with me, okay? Lots of whereases, all right? That's what proclamations are. Okay, whereas Charlie Brennan has lived in St. Louis 34 years and in Clayton 21 years. Whereas he began his radio career with KMOX in 1988 and married Beth Storr, his greatest achievement, and is the father of young Charlie and Lindley. And whereas he has helped countless charitable and civic organizations raise millions of dollars for worthy causes. And whereas Charlie has increased the awareness of important issues that help improve the lives of others, been a crusader to help improve the quality of life in St. Louis for issues ranging from racial polarization, helping the homeless, approving street vendors, and physically cleaning up St. Louis. In addition to using his KMOX and Donnybrook shows to promote St. Louis, He has written popular books about St. Louis that are enriched by his vast knowledge of our history here. Whereas Charlie has promoted all points of view on many issues through his broadcast career as a fair and impartial commentator. And whereas in 2015, along with Jeff Drew, who is in our audience, Charlie helped launch Thanking Our First Responders, which is really, it's really a great thing. A charity that feeds all first responders in the St. Louis area at Protzel's Deli. And so they get a Yahoo too. Whereas Charlie has been the ongoing host of At Home With, a fundraising program for the Clayton Community Foundation, and led the effort to beautify the Hanley Underpass in Clayton, which I have participated in twice. And whereas his commentary on KMOX has been the morning ritual for so many and is greatly missed, and whereas awarded the most influential St. Louisan multiple times by area publications, Charlie challenges all of us to be better people and to make the St. Louis region a better place to live. He truly is a champion of St. Louis and Clayton. Now, therefore, I, Michelle Harris, Mayor of Clayton, Missouri, hereby proclaim June 14th, 2022 as Charlie Brennan Day in the city of Clayton.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor Harris, members of the Board of Aldermen, city officials, and those gathered. Let me say, Mark Twain said, if you send a damn fool to St. Louis and you don't tell them that he's a damn fool, they'll never find out. And so maybe that explains my award here tonight. No, thank you. I'm going to accept this and go back to my seat before someone asks for a recount. Obviously, you counted the hanging Chad for this one.
Yes, we did.
But no, thank you. This week in the St. Louis Business Journal, Jody Sowell, who's the new executive director of the Missouri Historical Society, says that people want to live and work in a city if they feel that it's special. And I think that's definitely true about the city of Clayton. It's a very special place. I hope to work harder in the future to make it an even better place, better than it is right now. And I know I haven't done half the work in terms of civic improvement that people at this dais have, and you, Mayor Harris. So thank you very much. I'm humbled by this, and on with the show. Thank you very
Great.
much.
Well, we know where to find you. So.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay. Those are the fun things. Okay, so now we are going to get into the business of our meeting, and the first thing on our agenda is a public hearing for M1 Bank.
This is a public hearing and subsequent resolution for a conditional use permit for the proposed installation of an additional drive-through banking lane on the north side of the subject property occupied by M1 Bank. The applicant previously received approval for the proposed project in 2020, but did not begin construction within 1 year of approval, and the approval expired. The applicant again proposes to add one additional 24-hour virtual teller drive-through lane for a total of 2 drive-through lanes located on the north or the rear side of the building. Vehicles enter the drive-through lane via an existing one-way driveway off of North Beamiston Avenue, and all vehicles will exit onto Forsyth Boulevard. Additional improvements planned for the below-grade parking garage will replace the parking spaces that the proposed drive-through lane eliminates. The city's off-street parking and loading regulations require establishments with 1 drive-through window to provide a minimum of 10 stacked parking spaces. Due to the site constraints, only 6 stacked parking spaces can be accommodated on the existing drive-through lane, and 3 can be accommodated on the new lane. Section 405.3620 of the off-street parking and loading regulations permits the Board of Aldermen to modify the number of required parking spaces through the conditional use process. The Plan Commission considered this request at their June 6, 2020 meeting and voted unanimously to recommend approval of the conditional use permit to the Board of Aldermen. Staff recommends that the Board of Aldermen approve the resolution, and I believe the applicant is present this evening.
Okay, I I neglected to open the public hearing and ask for proof of publication. And now you've given your report. That's great. And I'll open the discussion. First, does the applicant have anything to tell us? I see you there.
Yes, hi, Tyler Stevens, Principal at Corten Architecture, representing M1 Bank here tonight. You may remember, or maybe some of you weren't here, but in December of 2020, we came before you with this same request, same thing. So probably the first obvious question that you would have is, why are we back? Simply, we came before you at that time because we were in hopes that PNC would be vacating the building, leaving their lease early. They're in the building right now, right here across the street. And they've chosen to stay in their lease until the very end, which is the end of this year. So due to that lag of time, our 1-year approval expired, and so we're back here to re-up it, essentially. This is part of a larger project that's been going on the whole M1 campus, the building that we completed a few years ago that's directly across the street from City Hall. This will be the next phase of that, which is the PNC Tower on the corner. I will gladly answer any questions you have about it.
Well, I'll open it up for discussion. Tyler, a lot of times I ask for questions from the audience first before I turn it to the board. So is there anybody in the audience that has questions or comments about this project? Okay. Among our board, any questions? I'll start with Rich. Okay. And Ira, any questions from you? Bridget?
Tyler, I was just going to ask, will this eventually include changing the building, how you guys had proposed to do it a bit, I mean, some time ago now?
Yes, this is all part of the plan has not changed at all. This is it'll be a radical redesign of the entire building.
Okay.
Not building will be left other than the structure, but we did want to preserve it because it does have some architectural merit.
Okay, thank you.
And Alderwoman McAndrew, I would just point out that proposal for those exterior changes that was approved at the last Architectural Review Board meeting that was held last week.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, very good. Any other questions, Susan, Becky, Gary? No. Okay. In that case, I will close the public hearing. Alderman Lentz.
I'll move to approve Resolution 2022-11, granting a conditional use permit for M1 Bank located at 7801 Forsyth Boulevard.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, very good. There you go. Uh-huh. All right, now we have a resolution or a CUP for Ivy Cafe. So a new restaurant for us.
That's correct.
Yes.
This is a public hearing to consider an application for a conditional use permit submitted by Ashley Morrison and Julie Keene of, I'm not sure how you pronounce this, Abry Enterprises LLC to allow for the operation of a 1,550 square foot restaurant to be known as Ivy Cafe. Ivy Cafe will be open Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturday from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. The restaurant will provide seating for 60 patrons and will feature a coffee shop with a food menu, happy hours, and a small retail area. A liquor license is being requested, and that will be the next item on our agenda. The restaurant is not required to have off-street parking because it is located within the central business district and measures less than 3,000 square feet. Deliveries to the restaurant will be made daily via the rear entrance located off of the alley. Trash will be stored in the existing dumpsters located off the alley at the rear of the building. The applicant does intend to participate in a recycling program. The Plan Commission considered this request at its May 16th meeting and voted unanimously to recommend approval as requested. Staff recommends that the Board of Aldermen approve a conditional use permit for the operation of Ivy Cafe located at 14A North Merrimack Avenue per the conditions outlined in the resolution.
And once again, I'll go back and actually open the public hearing and request proof of publication. And open our discussion. Any questions or comments from the audience so far? Is the applicant here? Oh, okay. The applicant is on Zoom. Is it Ashley?
Hello.
Yes. Hi. Is this Ashley or?
This is, and Julie, we're both here.
Okay, great. Well, we're excited about this new and different concept. Is there anything you would like to share with us about it before we go ahead and discuss and vote?
We just want to say we're super excited to be in the community. I live here in Clayton myself, and I feel like we've, had a big shortage of, nice, healthy daytime options that can cater really to the working crowd. So we're just excited to be here and open to any questions you guys have.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any questions? Rich, any questions from you?
I guess I'm just confused about the menu. If you're sort of a coffee shop with food and a liquor license, does that mean like for happy hour food or?
Well, so we want to have, especially like on the weekend, if someone wants to come in and have like a mimosa, so we want to kind of have like some different sort of drinks, such as like a kombucha mimosa, or an espresso martini, or to just be able to offer that to people who may come in on weekends that want to have a drink or two with their brunch. And then also like going into the evening crowd, doing light fare and like cocktail hour,
charcuterie boards and maybe a little heartier tartines,
yeah,
but nothing late night.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right, other questions? Ira, any questions?
Just, welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We're really happy to be here.
Mhm.
Bridget, any questions or comments?
Nope, just to say welcome to, and hopefully the construction across the street from you will finish. And then it'll be nice and quiet, and all those people working in the building will come to your restaurant. So, yeah.
I hope so
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you.
Susan, yeah.
Yeah, I do. First of all, it sounds great. Thanks for coming here. But when I read these, it always strikes me the language that we use in this: agrees to or intends to participate in recycling. I hope that all of us and you are beyond that in our practice. And active around here is the Green Dining Alliance, and Maplewood is a Green Dining District. And just wondering where you are on that. With
Yeah. For sure. It's a great question. We're really passionate about it. So we're going to have a grab and go section, and we're using everything earthware. So like compostable grab and go items, as much as humanly possibly that we can. We really wanted to do glass, but it prices us out, into such a high price point that it's going to really limit our grab and go and not be able to cater really to the fast, busy, working American here in Clayton. So, but we are very conscious about it. We're using paper in every way we can, recycled paper, and then trying to use all of the earthware, compostable, not plastic, but plastic type materials where we have to.
That's great. And the one thing that I would hope is a few years ago, I know the sustainability committee for the city was looking at trying to be like Maplewood and get a certain percentage of our restaurants on board with the Green Dining Alliance. And there's publicity with all that. Pastoria is doing it. Other ones in Clayton, Linda Set to Blueberry Hill, all a part of it. And I think they come in and they audit and they assist entities in doing what they can. And you're right, there's a realism part of it, of what you can and cannot do, but I do appreciate your commitment.
Yeah, absolutely. We're really passionate about it. We would welcome, them to come in and would take any tips on what has, been tried and true for sure.
Great, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, Becky, anything?
I have two things. One, as a follow-up to your comments there, I appreciate what you shared in response to Susan's question. And do you, if you're going to have compostable materials in your shop, does that mean that you will also be like contracting with a compost service and collect, separating your compost?
As of right now, we are not contracting with any compost, really, because we're not going to use any of that in-house. It's truly going to be in a grab and go situation or a to-go situation. We're not necessarily like, we want to have, you know, healthy grab and go items, because the reality is not everyone can take like a full hour lunch, you know, and there are times all of us have 15 minutes to like grab something quickly and go back to our desk. But what we're doing in-house is we're using like all handmade plates by ceramicists. We're really trying to just like build up the local handmade community, you know, and just reduce as much waste as possible. But we do not have a compost program. I don't know if it's something that we might entertain in the future, but right now it is not something that we have.
Thanks. And then my last question is whether you can update your Google Maps entry, because Google Maps thinks that you're open now. And I know some people who work in Clayton who like walked over the other day to get some coffee and were sorely disappointed.
Yeah, that is disappointing. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, we'll definitely get on that right away.
Thanks.
Great. Alderman Fader.
You may have addressed this already, but the summary says you're included in your facility as a small retail area. What is that?
So the retail area is the best way that I could kind of try to relay it would be to either think of like a Winslow's home or to think of Annex Coffee. So we just want to have a couple of shelves. We're going to have different items than either of them had, but a similar concept. So we want to have a lot of like local ceramics. So I do ceramics myself. I made all the plates for Ivy. But I have so many friends who are unbelievably talented who are going to sell some of their, you know, ceramics work here. We're going to do like local spices and shrubs and teas, you know, and different artwork, really just like for retail, everything for sale, like within the cafe.
Okay, thank you.
That sounds great. Okay. If there's no further discussion, I will close the public hearing. And Alderman Lentz.
I'll move to approve Resolution 2022-12, granting a conditional use permit for Ivy Cafe located at 14 North Merrimack, Unit A.
Second.
Sorry, I was on mute. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, very good. All right, and now what we're going to do is jump down to the accompanying liquor license, which is, I'm finding it. Well, it's here.
Item
Item 1 under the city manager's report.
Okay, the owners of Ivy Cafe are requesting a liquor license to sell all kinds of intoxicating liquor at retail by the drink, including Sundays at 14 North Merrimack, Unit A. The police department has completed its review of the application and supports the issuance of the requested license. The applicant has chosen not to submit a petition from surrounding property owners and the first floor tenants. As a result, they are aware that this application must have a supermajority vote of 5 board members in order to be approved. Staff has requested that a representative attend the meeting, which they are here. Staff recommends passing a motion to approve the liquor license to sell all kinds of intoxicating liquor at retail by the drink, including Sundays.
All right, I'll open discussion. Anybody with questions or comments about this? You already asked a question about it, Rich, right? Anyone else? Ira, Bridget? Okay, very good. Alderman Lentz.
I'll move to approve a liquor license for Abre Enterprises LLC doing business as Ivy Cafe located at 14 North Merrimack, Unit A.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, very good. That's done. And all right, the next thing on our agenda is the CUP for Wright's Tavern, and I will open the public hearing and request proof of publication.
Yes, Mayor, this is a public hearing to consider an application for a conditional use permit transfer submitted by Matthew McGuire of Box Hill Group, Wydown LLC, to allow the operation of a 1,100 square foot restaurant to be known as Wright's Tavern. The previous restaurant has been closed for an extended period of time, and therefore staff has decided to present the transfer request to the Board of Aldermen for final approval. The restaurant is proposing to operate in the same manner as the previous restaurant known as I Fratellini and is not requesting any modifications to the existing CUP. Wright's Tavern will operate 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. and a liquor license will also be requested. The restaurant is not required to provide off-street parking for patrons because it measures less than 3,000 square feet. The restaurant is located outside of the central business district and is therefore required to provide employee parking. The applicant has provided proof of the 4 employee parking spaces required under the existing CUP. Deliveries to the restaurant will be made daily after 7 a.m. via the rear of the building. Trash will be stored in the existing dumpsters located at the rear of the building, and the applicant intends to participate in a recycling program. Staff recommends that the Board of Aldermen approve a conditional use permit transfer for the operation of Wright's Tavern located at 7624 Wydown Boulevard per the conditions outlined in the resolution.
Okay, thank you. I think the applicant is here. Matt, do you want to come up? And I think we'll probably have questions for you, like what's on the menu, stuff like that. You want to tell us a little bit about the concept?
Yeah, the concept is honestly just an old-fashioned, small supper club steakhouse that I hope to be open for lunch Monday through Friday, and then dinner Monday through Saturday. No lunches and probably not open on Sunday, but
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, lunch 11 to 2, and then dinner service at night, 6 nights.
Steak is the sort of the theme, but are-
Steak, seafood.
steak and seafood
There'll be a
too?
few
Oh, good.
sandwiches, yeah.
Okay.
Really straightforward menu. I mean, it's a very small space and small
Yeah.
kitchen, so I think in total, maybe 40 chairs, including 5 bar seats, so it's little.
Yeah. All
But,
right, great.
but mighty,
Yes, small but mighty.
yeah.
We'll ask if we have any other questions. Rich, go
Hi,
ahead.
Matt.
Hi.
Hey, knowing that you always do things very intentionally, what is the name Wright? Where did that come from?
It's named after Henry Wright, who is a architect and landscape designer, and he designed, I sort of found him while building out Demon, the Louis on Demon, and he designed that neighborhood and the High Point neighborhood, most of Wydown, Brentmore Park, Forest Ridge, those are all his designs. And so his, and it's, I would say it's sort of an homage to, well, it is an homage to him, because I think both neighborhoods stand for themselves of how well they were planned and how well they've stood up this whole time, both neighborhoods. I mean, meaning there's a mix of, some rental properties along the Wydown stretch, in the Moorlands, same thing with some retail too. And so it's very similar. So I got very interested in him and started studying sort of what the Garden City was. And that was, so it's an homage to Henry Wright.
Terrific, thank you.
Great question. Ira, any questions?
Yeah, just a couple. When Zoe had that space, there was no outdoor dining over there. Is there any possibility of you're finding some way to actually put outdoor dining at your restaurant?
I don't see it necessarily, just because of the grade of the sidewalk there. Like if you are looking straight on the building and the door jamb is here, the sidewalk is going down pretty precipitously as you're heading eastbound on Wydown there. But it's, I think it's doubtful. I mean, the windows are nice to open up, so if you're sitting in the front of the restaurant, but I think the grade is working against us on that side of the street, so.
Yeah, no, I think the open windows, you're right, has a great effect, and it adds to the vibrancy of that street, so that's awfully good. There's a corner where the cleaners is. I don't remember, I'm trying to think how far that is from you, but it's a very big outdoor area corner. I always wondered if that could be utilized in some way, because right now it's not used at all. But it looks like it would be a great place to have tables. Are you familiar with that area?
I'm not, where is what cleaner? I'm not really sure.
Wydown Cleaners.
It's right next to the Wydown Cleaners, and I'm pretty sure it's private property because
Oh, I know what you're talking.
Dennis parks on it when
Yeah,
when he arrives
Right.
there.
Yeah,
Dennis
understood.
owns it.
I know right where you're talking about.
Dennis
Yeah,
owns it,
on the
yeah.
next block, the
Yeah.
next block down.
It's
Yeah, I guess it might be too far from your restaurant, but I'd still
I
like
think
somebody
so.
to utilize that somehow, because it really is it would be, it's sitting there waiting for somebody to open a bar or something so people can gather right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
All
anyway,
right.
Right. Well, thanks and welcome. Welcome to.
Oh, thank you very
welcome
much.
welcome to Ward 2.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Bridget, any questions?
No questions, just we're super excited for you to open another restaurant in Clayton. Now you just have to move one more ward and more, you just have to open another one in Ward 3. So I'll start looking for a spot for you.
I'll
So.
check with you next year, see how much gas I have left, but yeah,
Sounds
this might
good.
do it.
Sounds
This
good.
might do
All
it.
right. Thanks.
Wonderful. Susan?
Yeah, and we love having you in Ward too. So
Thank you
welcome.
very much.
I love that Rich asked about the architect and the name and everything, because I think that especially with the people who here preceding you, the character of Clayton and everything else and capturing that and even the name, it's just, it just feels really good. So
Good, I'm
thanks for
glad,
that.
I'm glad.
And you can probably anticipate my next question because I just asked it last time, the intention to participate in recycling. Again, I hope that your sustainability efforts are beyond that, or we can push them toward that as you operate this restaurant.
Yeah, it helps a lot. I mean, Green Dining Alliance, I'm very familiar with them. They're super helpful. I learned a lot from them. I've worked with them in a lot of projects. I didn't know that bleach was a neurotoxin, and I'd been huffing bleach my entire career in the basement cleaning things. And I was like, oh, you shouldn't do that. And I was like, oh, okay. So we got a lot of things out of our lives that we were supposed to, and learned a lot about recycling through the Green Dining Alliance. I like them a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah, and if Clayton can move toward becoming a district like Maplewood or something, that would be great. So I appreciate your openness to that and everything you're doing. It's really exciting. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, Becky.
I'm just excited about it.
Good.
So thanks. Looking forward to it.
We're getting excited too.
Yeah.
Scared and excited, both.
Alderman Fader?
We're welcome to have you on the Ward 3, Ward 2 borderline, so have to
Oh,
push it
you're
a little bit next
trying to
time.
steal it, are you?
We'll never forget he started out in Ward 1 if we're.
So just a
I'm
couple,
learning a lot. I didn't know the lines.
couple of quick questions. Where are your 4 spaces for your employees?
Central Christian was nice enough to allow us to get 4 spaces from them. And they said we could have more if we needed them, but I don't really know that we do, but
Okay. And there's a provision in here that deals with carryouts, which seemed a little odd. It basically seems to say you can try carryouts for 6 months, and if the city thinks that doesn't work because it's, I guess, traffic congested, you'll give it up. I just wondered, was that something originated with you or with the city? I just
not
wondered
me.
what the.
I had not planned on doing that. I just think the flow on Down would be really sketchy. So no, the plan is just pretty straightforward, lunch and dinner service, and kitchen small. So I
So
never
carry-
say never, but
Carryout's not likely.
not likely.
Okay, thank you.
It's not in the plans if we can keep everyone healthy and places open. So
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, great questions all. Well, I don't have any questions, but I just would like to say it's really wonderful to have this great intersection come to life again.
agreed.
It has been shut down for way too long. We still have some other spaces that need to activate, but before the pandemic, this was a real thriving, busy, bustling area and just, had a lot of character. And so I'm glad that you're doing this. This is awesome. And I can't wait for the whole thing to kind of come back.
Same.
Yeah,
Having all those businesses be vital again is going to be real exciting.
yeah,
So
yeah. Okay, thank you, Matt.
thank you very much.
All right, any further discussion? All right, I will close the public hearing. Alderman Lentz.
Gives me great pleasure to move to approve Resolution 2022-13 to transfer a conditional use permit for Wright's Tavern located at 7624 Wydown Boulevard.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, very good. The next thing on our agenda is a CUP for a ghost kitchen. I will open the public hearing and request proof of publication.
Thank you. This is a public hearing to consider an application for a conditional use permit submitted by Jim Kellogg of Neo Atomic LLC to allow the operation of a 1,600 square foot restaurant and shared commercial kitchen. Ghost kitchens operate similar to restaurants, but without on-site dining options. The proposed use will feature 3 different food categories prepared in a shared kitchen and served through carryout and delivery services. The only on-site seating provided will be outdoor dining. The restaurant will be open 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. A liquor license is not being requested. The restaurant is not required to have off-street parking because it is located within the central business district and measures less than 3,000 square feet. Employee parking is provided on-site at the rear of the building. Trash and waste will be handled using the existing dumpsters at the rear of the building. Deliveries will be made to the rear of the building off of the alley. The Plan Commission considered this request at its June 6th meeting and voted unanimously to recommend approval as requested. Staff recommends that the Board of Aldermen approve a conditional use permit for the operation of a ghost kitchen located at 7923 Forsyth Boulevard per the conditions outlined in the resolution.
Is the applicant here? Is there anything you'd like to tell us first?
No, we look forward to serving the community here. Getting back to food. My last restaurant was on the hill and it was very much a margarita mill type of thing. So learning the ins and outs of catering and learning that type of clientele and coming into a new neighborhood such as Clayton is a pretty exciting prospect for me. So I'm happy to be here.
Any questions, Ira?
If I may say something before y'all move to vote, I believe that I spoke a little bit too soon concerning an agreement on a parking space, not knowing the cost in the front, that we would have a valet space there. We do have 14 spaces in the back as well as another 3 in a loading dock that the delivery drivers will be able to use, as well as a hallway where we can direct them to there. We feel like after 1 or 2 times that they will know the rules on that and that we won't add to the added traffic in the front of it. Of course, with everyone here monitoring it in a close-knit community, I would definitely have that discussion afterwards, but I would ask everyone here if I could go back on that condition on the agreement and see if our 17 spaces in the back work for that delivery in order for me to give a fighting chance on my bottom line while we open.
Just for reference, that would be condition number 8 in the resolution.
All right. Well,
Can I ask a clarifying question on
no,
that?
I was just going to do that, but you
Oh,
go ahead.
oh, go
I was just
I'm
going to
sorry.
say, well, might be a different question, but I was just going to say that did our zoning staff, did you request this valet spot for a reason or?
So we were requesting a curbside dining or similar, so I believe that's only $100 a year.
We were thinking it was 700 a month by our calculations.
Yeah, I
So
think,
it's not a valet space. It's a curbside pickup space. So it is $100 a year.
We would
it's not a
definitely soak
significant
up that
application.
cost. Okay, sorry for the alarming there.
So you'll keep it then?
Before I talk myself out of this permit.
Okay. Okay, good, great. Yeah,
was
was
trying
that
to-
your question, Becky? Was that your
I was
question?
just curious, like, I didn't know what we charged. I just was interested in some more background on that. So
Excellent.
glad that it's cleared up and you'll be able to have a curbside spot, it sounds like.
All right. Ira, any questions?
Mhm.
Bridget?
No.
Susan?
I think you know mine. It's, there is community concern and commitment to sustainability. And so I am curious where you stand on that, especially with takeout. You've got more and more challenges in the containers that you can use and everything else. And there's the added concern with, Clayton has an idling ordinance. We've worked a lot on this with the school district, looking at all the emissions and the damage to the risks to our children. And in downtown pedestrian area, there is a concern with emissions, and Clayton does have an idling ordinance. And I'm wondering if you have the concept sounds great. So I'm just wondering how you would handle that. Are you going to have areas where, say, Uber Eats can turn off their engines while they get their deliveries? Or what do you see happening with the flow and the delivery of your services.
Yes, I would see where they would be able to turn them off if that's what's requested. We can have that policy written there. As far as the responsibility on the actual restaurant side, was a member of Green Dining Alliance from 2014 until 19 at my first Taco Circus location. And then we've kind of had to move into a premium packaging situation in order to command some of the prices, in order to give it like a well-executed Mexican food concerning a lot of the prep. So we don't have a program for any of the organic waste, but we take our cardboard, which we create, very seriously. Our recycling bin is as large as our trash can. If you go in our alley, we have both, very large of them. So I'm very intent on breaking our boxes down and getting the full use out of that. So it's not just a container that's ended up being thrown away because it's not presented properly to the recycling. In that respect, the other approach that we have on that, being that we are, this kind of consumer experience, higher end packaging thing, is that on our to-go containers are all reusable. So we find that people use these containers again that we're giving for our to-goes. And then some of our other products, they're going to be aluminum foil. So no styrofoam, and we'll have a higher end, probably corn product on the forks, although we have not sourced that one yet. But from COVID and learning these things about packaging, and now, there being issues concerning lead times on packaging, where you're having to order 3 and 4 months out for some of this stuff, or moving into whatever is available. That's a scary prospect too, because people are having to turn to some of these things. But what we've outlined for ourselves, and we've already made our purchased our packaging, is to have high-end stuff that much of it can be reused.
That's great. And then on the idlings, so if you would take the ordinance and when you work with your drivers and things, you could just pass on that this is the standards. and
Yes,
everything,
I would
so that
definitely have those signs on there. A bigger question about that, just since it's your concern, just on a side note, as far as composting, I think that needs to be a restructured thing. As far as a smaller company who's been in business for 9 years now and hasn't really turned a profit, has stayed afloat and moved from one thing to another in a tough restaurant thing. The prospect of having the organic recycling and compost is a great thing, especially because of the soil that it creates. I just feel like there needs to be some type of incentivizing or transparency concerning where the revenues are being made on that, so that more small restaurants can participate in that. So that would be my only suggestion on that.
And I would agree with you on that. And the other part, the cardboard itself is probably one of the most easily dealt with too. Some of the composting stuff never makes it to where anything happens. So I appreciate that you're taking that seriously in your
Sure.
business, and we're excited to have you.
Thank you. We love our food. We love to serve y'all so much. We brought y'all some sandwiches. They're called the Charlie Brennans. No. But they're steak sandwiches, so
Oh, wow.
apologies in advance to anyone who's a vegetarian. But we are going to have a large vegan mirrored section on a lot of our food. So
Oh, yeah.
in addition to serving the community here, we're going to be serving the larger community at large with some great vegan comfort food at the same time, providing both of those things at the same time. So thank y'all very much for the opportunity, and we look forward to a long.
You
I'm
all-
going to ask you.
You all
another
have any
question, so-
questions?
Yeah,
Yes,
sorry.
Okay.
So I don't know if you said really what kind of food it's going to be. And
Sure. So one is going to be Taco Circus, which has been around for many
Yeah.
years, and that's going to focus on well executed proteins, and as well as the mirrored vegan section of that. The hot sauces is what we're known for as well. There's going to be an array of salsas that you'll be able to pick from to go on there. We decided to spin off part of the Taco Circus into a kind of a micro concept of just burritos, so that we'll have signature flavor profile for 4 or 5 burritos, and then a build your own, as well as the original that has been influenced by the San Francisco Mission District burrito that has, many people are familiar with. And then the third one is going to be St. Louis style sandwiches, oversized sandwiches. So a 13-inch or a 7-inch, and then some like nice deli sides. And then that one is also going to have a mirrored vegan menu. So that won't be an afterthought. And so as you can see, there's a lot of opportunities for vegan comfort food, as well as just very straightforward traditional Mexican food, and then St. Louis style sandwiches that we've come to know and love from a lot of these delis.
Great. And is it going to be all to go or catered orders?
So
in advance? What's
so
the-
in the discussions, if this does pass, we have discussed, maybe 3 tables or so out front. We have a vestibule that we've been working intently to see what the flow will look like. So we may just hope for the best, get a cashier and a runner to where we can expedite any type of lunch rush. That way we're not just leaving it as a complete ghost kitchen where they're touching a kiosk, waiting for their food and just kind of being alone. So we're going to jump in with both feet concerning the service part, especially in those high traffic hours, as we've, done our own street studies concerning the way that people are utilizing the concepts in the neighborhood.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, thank you.
Alderman Fader, any questions?
I was going to move, we take a steak sandwich break, but short of that, I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you. All right, I will then close the public hearing, and Alderman Lins.
I'll move to approve resolution 2022-13 to transfer a conditional use permit for Ghost Kitchen located at 7623 Forsyth Boulevard.
Second.
And just to clarify, that should
Oh,
be,
it should be 2014.
thank you.
I hesitated because I thought I had
That's a good
seen that
catch.
before.
Okay.
All right,
Sorry.
I'll second the correction then.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. And thank you for coming and all of your comments, and also the steak sandwiches. We can't eat them while we're meeting, but we will grab them right after. Thank you so much. We have to get Matt McGuire to bring in his samples. Okay. All right. Next on our agenda is a CUP for Bar La Frere. I will open the public hearing and request proof of publication.
Yes, Mayor, this is a request to consider an application for a conditional use permit transfer submitted by Tara Galina of Bar La Frere LLC to allow for the continued operation of a restaurant known as Bar La Frere under different ownership. The previous restaurant has been closed for an extended period of time, and therefore staff has decided to present this transfer request to the Board of Aldermen for final approval. The restaurant is proposing to operate in generally the same manner as the previous restaurant, with only the only modification to the existing CUP being a shift and the days and hours of operation. The existing CUP allows for operation of the restaurant Monday through Saturday from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. The applicant is proposing hours of operation Monday through Sunday from 2 p.m. to 12 a.m. The restaurant is not required to provide off-street parking for patrons because it measures less than 3,000 square feet. The restaurant is located outside of the central business district and is therefore required to provide employee parking. The applicant has agreed to secure the 5 employee parking spaces required under the existing CUP. Deliveries to the restaurant will be made daily after 7 a.m. via the rear of the building. Trash will be stored in the existing dumpsters located at the rear of the building. The applicant does intend to participate in a recycling program. Staff recommends that the Board of Aldermen approve a conditional use permit transfer for the operation of Bar La Frere located at 7637 to 7639 Whitedown Boulevard per the conditions outlined in the resolution, and the applicant is present.
All right, would you like to come up and entertain some questions?
Hi.
Hi, Tara.
I'm Tara Galina. Nice to meet you all. Yeah, and I did want a quick update. Our business is Bar La Frere LLC. However, there is a different DBA of the actual restaurant itself. So I did want to just make a
Thought so.
notation
And
of that.
What is the name?
It's a Bistro La Florisone.
Okay.
And we plan to open next month in the middle of July.
Wow, great. Any questions? I'll go around like I did the rest of the time. Rich, anything from you?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Ira?
Yeah, I just have a couple, and welcome. Thank you for taking that leap of faith and again into Ward 2 and Whiteout. It's as the mayor mentioned, it's been always a very vibrant area for a long time until, of course, the pandemic hit. And so I have total faith that you're going to be very successful there. But one thing I would like to know, I mean, in the past, there were some issues, I think, between Zoe and the owner of a car. And I wondered if you've discussed or had any talks with him and whether or not, you guys are able to work together because you're very close in proximity.
Yeah, I'm friendly with Bernie, Bernie Lee, the owner of a car. I don't know of the specifics of whatever issues they might have had with each other in the past, but I certainly look forward to a professional relationship with all of our neighbors, but most definitely
Sure.
Bernie, considering we share such a close quarters with one another, especially in the back of the building.
Okay, good. I mean, and I know Pepe has done a lot to help other restaurateurs around that area, and it's been a really tremendous culture of owners. And so I think you're in a good spot. You're in a great area, and I know Bernie is a great guy. So welcome. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bridget, any comments, questions?
No, I'll just say that I think I jumped for joy when I heard you guys were buying or moving into that space, because you do such an unbelievable job at Vicia, and I'm excited to go down there and try the new place next door to Vicia. But anyways, I'm just thrilled to have you guys in Clayton. So welcome.
Thank you. We're excited.
Yeah, Susan.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Can't wait for it to open. And my question.
I do. I've been sitting here preparing. Yeah, I mean, to echo what a lot of people before me have said, but also just to point out, our first restaurant, Vicia, is in the city of St. Louis, but, is really something we pride ourselves on is being a sustainable restaurant in every way we possibly can. From the food side of things, but also from any other ancillary packaging product we use. That space isn't so much of a to-go restaurant, but we do have another restaurant that's Winslow's Table in University City, and totally different business model and a lot more to-go packaging. So that is something that we do use compostable products there, and recycling, composting, all those things, and want to continue that at the bistro in Clayton as well. We source all of our ingredients as much as possible locally, and we're planting an herb garden out front of the restaurant, which I'm excited about. We have a huge garden at Vicia, so trying to continue some of that here to our newest restaurant is also something I'm excited about.
Sounds great. Love your other spots. Looking forward to this one.
Thank you. Thank you, Susan.
Go ahead, Becky.
Thanks. Yeah, big fan.
I say it's nice to see you.
Hi, how are you?
I didn't know you were on the board. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so what's the concept? I think some early press suggested it was going to be similar to Bar La Frere.
Yeah, it's still going to be French. It'll be a French bistro and wine bar in the same sort of spirit that Bar La Frere was, just kind of with some of our touches to it. So the menu won't be exactly the same, but you can certainly look forward to expect some wonderful, appetizers from oysters and gougères and some caviar service and some house-made charcuterie. And then we'll have some larger entree plates that will be kind of very classic French preparations, beautiful desserts. We're trying to source fantastic baguettes, and wine is really important to us. We have a fantastic team of sommeliers that are leading that, and we're excited to kind of open up our entire list to be by the glass, so you can try kind of anything when you're there. Great cocktails, and looking to have like a little happy hour time period, and then also some later evening snacks if you come by, later on at night.
That's wonderful. Thanks.
Yeah, we're excited.
Alderman Fader.
Welcome. You're in walking distance, so we look forward.
Good.
Forward to stopping by. A couple of parking questions.
Yes.
The 5 employee parking spots.
Yes,
where-
I have an agreement with Preston Salon across the street for 5 spaces. And then we also have 2 spaces. They're quite small, but we have 2 in the back of the building that are assigned to us as well.
There's also provision that says that the applicant shall provide proof that a minimum of 5 parking spaces will be available exclusively for the business within 500 feet. Do you know if are those the same spaces or those different spaces? Maybe
That's how Zoe had it before. And so we kind of carried over the same agreement that she had with the salon. So it was the same
Right.
parking spaces.
And my
that she
last
had,
one was,
so.
I know you've had outdoor seating there.
Yes.
And
will
I
continue.
assume you will continue to, because your CUP is being transferred. It does say that your outdoor seating can only be operated in accordance with the outdoor dining permit as issued by the city, but I assume that you don't see that as a problem getting a permit since it's the same thing you've been doing.
I don't know.
Okay,
No.
thank you.
Okay, good, thank you. I don't have, all my questions have mostly been asked, but I am just curious about your hours.
Mhm.
So, you're not serving lunch.
No, I listed 2 o'clock in the event that we end up doing something on the weekend, perhaps a
Okay,
little
so I
earlier,
wondered
but
why
it
you
isn't,
listed
just as a precaution, but
Okay.
I don't think we'll be opening any earlier than 4 PM at this
Okay.
time.
That was what I was curious about. Okay, great. All right, if there's no other discussion, we will close the public hearing and Alderman Lentz.
Just to clarify, the name, doing business as the Bistro?
Yeah, Bistro La Floraison.
Bistro,
La Floraison. It means
Floraison.
flowering in French.
thank you.
And it's the same initial as Bar La Frere,
Okay.
which is also a little
That helps.
Okay.
intentional.
Then I'd like to move to approve resolution 2022-15 to transfer a conditional use permit for Bar La Frere LLC located at 7637, 7639 Wydown Boulevard.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, very good. All right, Tara, thank you very much. We're excited for you to come to Clayton. Oh, yeah. Clayton. All right, the next thing on our agenda is the rezoning and PUD for 8220 to 8260 Forsyth Boulevard for mixed-use development, and the city manager has a report.
Yes, this request is for review and consideration of the rezoning and related plan unit development for proposed mixed-use development. The rezoning, plan unit development, and subdivision plat are being addressed together in this report through the plat and though the plat and the land use elements entail separate ordinances on the board's agenda. The project received architectural review board approval, and the Plan Commission recommended approval of the site plan, lot consolidation, rezoning, and development plan on May 2nd, 2022. The Board of Aldermen hosted a public hearing to solicit input regarding the proposed rezoning and planned unit development on May 24th, 2022. The Board of Aldermen closed the public hearing and voted to continue consideration of the rezoning and related plan unit development to the following meeting. The Board of Aldermen also considered the subdivision plat at the meeting on May 24th, 2022, completing the first reading of the approving ordinance. Items of discussion at the previous BOA meeting included provision of utilities, the location and size of the rain garden proposed in the front yard, provisions for parking to support drop-off maintenance and service functions associated with the residential use, concerns regarding mosquito breeding from the proposed blue roof, and clarification regarding the requested public benefit points. For this project, a minimum of 20 points must be obtained. Staff and the developer have reevaluated the public benefit points since the previous meeting. The developer is now requesting 27 points, and staff is recommending 25 points. The Plan Commission had previously recommended 20.5 points, but had not considered all of the sustainable project elements or points awarded for previously approved PUD projects. 3 tables were included in the latest packet. There's a table listing the specific code alternatives requested by the developer, a table containing the public benefit points requested by the developer and recommended by staff and the Plan Commission, excuse me, and a third table that contains the points awarded to previously approved PUD projects. Staff has also provided an analysis of each point category and rationale for the recommended points. Electric service for the site has been revised and will now be provided underground from a main electrical line under Forsyth Boulevard. This adjustment eliminates the requirement for burial of the existing overhead lines to the rear of the property. The applicant has provided additional information about the blue roof system in response to concerns about mosquito breeding. The applicant has stated, and I quote, "We are targeting systems that only hold water for a short period of time before slowly releasing the water onto the roof. Mosquitoes need 10 to 14 days of standing water before hatching any larvae. This short time frame should alleviate this issue. If the blue roof or rain gardens are producing a problem with mosquitoes, they will be treated with environmentally friendly products." The larvae ingest the product and then they are killed within a few days. It only affects fly larvae, so it won't harm predatory insects living in the pond or water feature or birds or mammals that ingest the water. The applicant has also redesigned the proposed on-street parking to retain the 7 existing metered spaces for public use and provided 2 new dedicated spaces. The dedicated spaces include 1 curbside pickup zone to support the commercial use and 1 valet space to support the residential use. Additional on-street parking spots will be constructed along the northern portion of the property where there are not currently spots if the existing right-of-way width allows. The revised plans also show potential locations for the multiple public art pieces along the front and revised landscaping. The rain garden has been relocated from the proposed front yard location to the southwest corner of the lot. Planting details have been added to the front landscape for the bioswale in the rear and for the rain garden. The proposed development will revitalize and underused parcels and provide a transition between land uses in the area. The MGD or Maryland Gateway District requires that ground floor uses be retail in nature. As development has progressed, it has been increasingly evident that a mixture of commercial and residential uses is necessary to transition between fully commercial and fully residential areas. While some amount of retail is necessary, an adequate mixture of uses in keeping with the character area, the configuration of the proposed building and site layout and other factors outlined above are critical in the assessment of permitted uses. Staff is of the opinion that the permitted uses, public benefits, and design of the site and building are compatible with the code in the context of the neighborhood. Staff recommends that the Board of Aldermen approve the rezoning and plan unit development per the required development commitments set forth in the ordinance Exhibit C and the Forsyth Curve PUD document. Staff recommends that the Board of Aldermen also approve the subdivision plat with the conditions set forth in the ordinance for adoption, and the applicant is present this evening.
All right, would the applicant like to come forward and talk to us a bit?
Sure, thank you. David Robert with Midas. Thanks for having us back. We appreciate it. So since we were here a couple weeks ago, I think we've addressed all the issues and David addressed them. So we've, can you pull up the Bend BOA? So if you go to the second slide, or do I have a? Go to the second slide if you don't mind. This kind of gives you an idea. We've added the rain garden over to the right. It's now clearly identified. We've got that where it needs to be, and we've got our landscape architect has done a nice job of that. Full side of our building will actually be a rain garden on the side there. And then we've got a little rain garden area up in the upper corner there too. So we think we've accomplished that very nicely. Can you go to the next slide for me? And then the front parking, there was discussion, and David mentioned about, there was 7 parking spots here before. We actually went out and measured the street and make sure that we have enough width on Forsyth to be able to do this. And so we believe we do. And so what we would be adding is actually 2 additional metered parking spots in front of our building. And then we'd have 2 places where you can see they're hashed out there for a drop off and valet, basically for the residents. So and we believe we've got enough width in Forsyth. We may have to restripe the hash lane on the what would be the southbound portion, but we think this will all fit very nicely and make it a lot cleaner. So, and then can you run the so that's what our building looks like. I think I'm not going to start over because we went through this last time, so I didn't want to rehash everything. But there should be a 8250 streetscape animation. Can you play that? We wanted to show you what the front of the building would look like through an animation, and Tom, our architect, did a really nice job. So hopefully it's going to work. There we go. Okay, so if you look at this, you can really kind of see as we get in front of the building, the curve of the building, how it curves to the street. Just to the right here will be the loading area for people moving in and for deliveries. As we go down the street, you can see the first piece of art. We haven't selected the art yet, so we're going to be using William Sherburne and Meredith McKinley to help us select the art, but this just kind of gives you an idea of what we're thinking in front of the building there. So that would be the entrance and our doorman, Kevin. And then as you go down the building, you can see the second piece of art as it gets closer to, this is the retail piece right here to the right. The second piece of art, as you go down the sidewalk, it's going to be very nicely landscaped. It'll be a nice improvement over the two vacant buildings that are there now. The building itself, as we said, is mostly brick and masonry, so it's going to stand out very nicely. All balconies. There'll be 42 luxury condos. And then as you get to the end of the building here, you'll see the garage. It'll be a private garage that goes into the basement. So all the residents will have their own private access into the garage for their parking. In the parking underneath, we actually will be wired for charging stations. So we'll have charging stations in the basement for our residents to use. We'll be wired actually to have one charging station per unit. So we'll have up to 40 down there at some point if the demand dictates. We're going to actually irrigate all those trees out front. We've noticed there's a lot of places in town that doesn't happen. So we want the trees not to die. So we're going to add irrigation to all of those so that we can keep them living for a long time. So that's our project.
Great. Well, I think what we'll do, if you want to just stay there for a few minutes, I think what I'll do is just ask that people look at the points table at this point, unless you have a general comment, the points table. And I guess I would like to know if anybody has a thought or a question about any category that they would either like to discuss or ask a question about at this time.
The general question first.
Yes.
As you're doing all the charging stations and everything, will you all be willing to put maybe a couple or at least one charging station at the public metered spots out in front? Well, everything's all torn up. That's always what's held the city back, is the cost of getting
Right.
into there.
Yeah, so we put them, we're primarily a hospitality company, so we always put charging stations at all our hotels. So if that is the last request, yes, we would be okay with putting a charging station out there, typically a dual. So it would work on, have two hoses, basically charge one post, two charger, or to be able to charge two cars.
For the public spots, that'd be
Right.
great. Okay, thanks.
Great. Discussion. Any other questions, topics? Yeah, Gary.
A couple of questions, I think, that relate to the points on the parking. David, can you explain what the function of the valet or the doorman is? What happens when a guest arrives to visit someone? Does that person get some assistance from the valet, or what's the role of the valet?
Yeah, I mean, the building will have a doorman, so there will be a doorman out there. His name's Kevin. That's what we've named him. So he will be greeting people. It's meant to be just like a drop-off spot, really, for to be able to get people. This came up in our neighborhood meetings early on. They felt like it was important that we have an area out there that was, people weren't in the street trying to drop people off. So that's really what the function of it is. We've got space right to the end of our building for deliveries, for service vehicles to back in. So that's primarily the use of that valet area. But the doorman his job is to make sure that doesn't become a parking spot for someone all day, right?
And my other one is, and I know this has been addressed at prior meetings, about the composition of the buffering materials, the trees in the back. And I know there was some prior criticism about some of the selection of trees. How is that being addressed now? I think it was suggested that you somehow elevate, I guess, with more evergreens and other.
Yeah, our landscape engineer has actually added additional landscaping back, and we've submitted that to staff. As they said, we're now not going to be required to take down the existing mature trees that are between us and our neighbor to the back. So that buffer is going to help a lot too. So we think it'll be a rather nice barrier between us and the neighbors behind us.
Final one, it's probably not critical to the points, but any further thought on your 1,050 square feet of retail, what that might be?
No, I don't know what that is yet, just being honest. I was asked to put in a bookstore and a movie theater by the neighbors, and so it will not be a movie theater. I can promise you that. And so, no.
Ira, go ahead. Sorry,
Um,
my mic was off.
Okay, no, that's fine. Hey, at the ARB, you and I talked for a little bit, and I liked all your answers. We talked a little bit about handicap access, and I know you're going to have a doorman, but is there going to be a remote access in case he's not available? And I know we talked about having some kind of a handicap access unit. I think you would discuss that with me as well.
Yeah, we will have ADA units, and there will be a remote entry and ADA entry at the main entrance there. And we have 2 elevators too. So.
Thank you. No, that's awesome. Appreciate that. And then did you perhaps change the design any from the time you presented to the ARB? Is that possible that the building has changed in design?
You were at ARB 3 times, so it did change, just being honest. So from our original rendering, it has changed over time, but this is what the ARB approved at their meeting.
So that's the same one that we approved?
It's the same building, yeah. We didn't, yeah, it wasn't a bait and switch.
Right, it seems a little more wavy as you did that video, and it seemed like you had your roof line, it looks a little nicer than it did before, but that's okay, it's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I think the video actually shows the curvature better of the front of the building to match the street. That was always hard to depict in a 2D drawing.
Okay, well then use that. I mean, that was much better, but it looked much nicer for me.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, your accommodation has been phenomenal from day one. So I just want the whole board to know that you've been very flexible and very willing to listen, and we really appreciate that. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Hey, great. Bridget, I kind of skipped over you guys. Do you have any comments or questions?
I don't. Gary brought up a few things I was still wondering about. I was just going to mention too, David, yeah, I do appreciate how you've accommodated the neighbors. Do you have any, I hate to belabor the point about trees, but was there any percentage on what the evergreen trees would be, or do you just not know that yet?
Let me consult with the tree expert.
Okay.
Yeah, the full plant list is included in your packet, but you can see it's a variety of evergreens that make up that buffer area.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So I think we are comparing.
Mayor, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you too. Are
Oh,
you gonna, is
you were
there
done.
public comment? I just didn't know if there was anybody in the audience there who was
Yes,
there to
there
comment.
is. And
Okay.
yes, we will.
Okay.
Thank you for reminding me though.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Well, all right, before I'm going to sort of interrupt what I was going to do, and why don't we go ahead and allow some public comment now that we've heard from the developer and had some questions answered. Come on up, Peter.
Thank you, Peter Smith, 23 Brighton Way. Thank you to David and Steve and the city for working together to accommodate the ability to retain our evergreen buffer in the back. We very much appreciate that. So gentlemen, thank you. Thank you to the city. That certainly does address one of the 2 principal concerns that our residents had. The second one was parking. And I was made aware this week that the city, and per the plan, we see 1 valet space and 1 curbside space being allocated by the city to this development. I have a question and then perhaps some comments after that. My understanding of the ordinance, the code, I'm not sure of the proper reference. I think it's a code regarding valet and curbside is that it only be allowed in areas zoned as commercial, fully commercial.
That's interesting. I know that the Crescent has valet spot and some other places do, but
I have
maybe
a thought on that because Peter included us on the email, Bridget and me, and
Okay.
I believe the PUD zoning supersedes conventional zoning so that at least I'm not the city attorney, but it's my opinion that the reference to commercial is to traditional commercially zoned property. It wouldn't apply to a PUD.
PUD.
That's my
Maybe
opinion.
Anna can
I-
confirm or deny
Yeah, I would
our planning
guess
director.
that's legally debatable, Gary, would be my thought on that.
Let's
Having
hear,
read the code.
let's hear from our code expert.
Well, one of the curbside space is designated for commercial uses. So that is part of why we've referenced that it should be in support of their commercial use of their property. The plan development is a mixed use in general is just separate. If it was a plan development residential where the whole property was zoned residential, then there might be a little bit more of a discussion there. But in talking with the director of public works, we felt that the curbside and the valet parking space could be allocated to this property if they maintain the permit and pay the annual fee.
Okay, well, I respectfully disagree. The code is clear that it's entirely commercial zoning, but I guess the city's going to do what it's going to do. However, if the decision is made to consider that development a commercial zone, there are some very specific operating hours and conditions under which a valet spot and a curbside spot may be utilized. As I'm sure you're aware, certain hours of the day, not before a certain hour nor after a certain hour of the day, certain days of the week, and a limited amount of time. For example, with curbside, or with valet, the car parked in the valet has to be moved from that spot as soon as possible. And I think no more than 10 minutes, and it cannot be moved to a public street. With the curbside designation, no individual can park their car there for a greater period than 10 minutes. So I guess I would ask, is the city and Midas prepared to observe those rules of the code, or are those being modified also?
Would you like to comment?
I mean, what you just quoted comes straight from our ordinance, so that's how we'll have to enforce it. We have no way to adjust that, and that's something parking enforcement will have to keep an eye on, just like they do with existing valet and curbside spaces in our downtown area.
We'll be happy to assist in monitoring that for you. I wouldn't say that. I would say, we think it's the wrong, I mean, not that hilarious to us, actually. We think the building is too big. We think it's going to create significant parking and pedestrian safety issues. So no, we don't find it that funny.
Okay, Peter, thank you for coming and waiting all this time to speak to us, and appreciate your comments. We've heard them a number of times, and we're glad to do that. And I'm sure you'll continue to give us feedback as this progresses.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question? We've gotten the public comment before too about the pedestrian safety. Has there been any traffic study there as you guys were putting this together? Or
There was a traffic study. Yeah, there was a traffic study, so the city required it, so we turned it in months ago, or weeks ago, maybe, I don't know now.
nothing, right?
I do not
Like-
remember anything about it other than it said everything was good.
Okay.
And so,
And often the adding of additional parking spots can be traffic calming in my
Yeah, I mean, some of the-
understanding of all that, so. I
think
just
some of the
wondered what
conditions, some of
actual-
our conditions were from the traffic study, if I remember correctly. So they're called out in the conditions that were required. And Peter and I, we've, he's like my best friend now. We've talked a lot over the last several months, and we've really tried, we're rules followers. I mean, that's who we are. Okay, we're going to do our best to be good neighbors, and we're going to follow all the rules. We're going to try to do our best to make Peter and our neighbors happy that we're part of the community.
Great, appreciate it. Any other questions? I think, I'm asking if this is correct. We have the requested points here, the staff points and the plan commission points. And it's my understanding that we're going to be looking really at the plan commission points, and just not one by one, but if there's anything we'd like to change from that.
I would
Is that
actually,
right?
I would actually recommend that you look at the staff points in this
Staff points.
particular
Okay,
application.
because this is
That-
behind.
That's at the previous plan
Yeah.
commission meeting when they hadn't considered all of the sustainable items. You can see they just gave 1 point where there are actual multiple sustainable features that the ordinance allows points for.
Yep.
So I would recommend that you take a look at the staff points. Certainly on the next project on the agenda, we'll want to switch back and look
Okay.
at the plan commission points for that
I
one.
think, Mayor, when we did the ARB, the point system was all new to us and
Yeah.
we were all trying to figure out
No,
what was what.
I
And I
understand.
think since then, we've got a better understanding of what should be accounted for.
Yep, I got that. Okay, great. That's what, okay, great. Thanks for that. So looking at the staff points, all, is there anybody that would like to talk about any of these point assignments? Are we okay with them now? Rich?
I'm in agreement with the staff points.
Ira?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Anybody over here want to talk about any of the staff points that have been
On
assigned?
board.
Becky?
Do you have something first? No. I would just like to come back to the very first one about architectural distinction. It would be my preference that we go with 3 points on that. I'm really excited about this development. I like the way it looks. I like what you've done with it. I think on a scale of 1 to 5, where even 1 means it does exhibit architectural distinction, a 3 is appropriate. So that's all.
Okay, we can discuss that in a sec. I have one myself, which is the irrigation that you've provided for street trees. I think that's really over and above enhanced front yard landscaping. I know that's expensive and honestly, I don't think any other development has ever done it so far in Clayton. So I really commend you for that. And it will save the city money in the long run and all that. So yeah, I think you should have 5 points for that whole section there. So how do we look, guys? Are we okay with Becky and my suggestions?
End up still with 25.
I'm going to make one more. I think we're over 20, but LEED silver requirement, I think everything should be at least at silver now. So I'm okay with it staying here, but as we go forward, it seems to be a very basic standard as for LEED. Otherwise, I'm fine with the points we've all talked about.
Okay, very good. All right.
Mayor Harris, I'll just add that if the adding of the electric charging station within the public right of way is not currently addressed in the
That's
points.
true. Thank you, Anna. So wait, what section will
That's a
that
big one
be in?
for us.
That would be in the second line of the table.
We're up to
For
40.
new and enhanced public infrastructure. And that could receive between 0 and 2 points.
Okay, wait, the second line.
The second line in the table, which is section
right, right, right. Okay.
405.1380B3.
So they've already got 4 points. Are you saying we could add to it?
They've got
They've got it.
5 points right now. If
Yeah, yeah.
the
Oh,
board
they've got
agrees with
5,
your
yeah.
recommendation on
Yeah.
the irrigation, that's where we would add it. And then they could also receive up to 2 points for the charging station, the public charging station.
I think that's fair, but, okay, so really they'd have a total of 7 for that section. Am I saying that right?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, good. Yeah, that is really commendable also. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. Thank you, Anna. Okay, in that case, are we ready to go ahead and do our readings tonight? Okay. And I'm going to ask right now up front, is everyone okay with doing both readings tonight? Okay. All right.
Mayor, can
You can sit down.
I just want, I indicated, and I think Bridget and I did at a prior coffee, that we had some concern about 2 readings when at that point in time, particularly the issue with Ameren was still
Right.
unresolved. But I'm personally satisfied that the matter with Ameren has been resolved. You know, kudos to the neighbors, to Ameren, and to Midas for getting that resolved. And because frankly, I think the parking is no longer, in my opinion, a problem. I would have no objection to 2 readings tonight.
Okay, very good. All right. In that case, we will have Alderman Lentz introduce the bill.
Okay, so just clarification, I need to mention the 2 public spaces that are in addition that we're adding that we agreed to. Okay. And those is part of the motion, right?
That's correct.
Yep, okay. Then I'll introduce Bill 6901, an ordinance to approve a rezoning and a planned unit development for 8220, 8260 Forsyth Boulevard, including the condition that the developer shall install electric vehicle charging stations on 2 public metered parking spaces on Forsyth Boulevard and dedicated to the city upon completion of the project. It's for the project to be read for the first time by title only.
Second.
All right, good. Any further discussion? All right, Ms. City Attorney.
Bill number 6901, an ordinance providing for the rezoning of certain property located at 8220 through 8260 Forsyth Boulevard from C1 Neighborhood Commercial District and Maryland Gateway Overlay District to a planned unit development district to be known as the Forsyth Curve Planned Unit Development or as Planned Use District, providing for the change in the zoning map of the city of Clayton, Missouri, approving a planned unit development for the subject property and other actions related thereto.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Alderman Lentz.
I'll move that the board give unanimous consent to consideration for adoption of Bill 6901 on the day of its introduction.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, let the minutes reflect the board has given unanimous consent. Alderman Lentz.
And I'll introduce Bill 6901, an ordinance to approve the rezoning and planned unit development for 8220, 8260 Forsyth Boulevard, including the condition that the developer shall install electric vehicle charging stations to serve 2 public metered parking spaces on Forsyth Boulevard, which will be dedicated to the city upon completion of the project, to be read for the second time by title only.
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, Ms. City Attorney.
Bill number 6901, an ordinance providing for the rezoning of certain property located at 8220 through 8260 Forsyth Boulevard from C1 Neighborhood Commercial District and Maryland Gateway Overlay District to a planned unit development district to be known as the Forsyth Curve Planned Unit District, providing for the change in the zoning map of the city of Clayton, Missouri, approving a planned unit development for the subject property and other actions related thereto.
Alderman Lentz,
Aye.
Alderman Berkowitz,
Aye.
Alderwoman McAndrew,
Aye.
Alderwoman Buse,
Aye.
Alderwoman Patel,
Aye.
Alderman Fader,
Aye.
and Mayor Harris.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda is some unfinished related business, the consolidation plat. Mr. City Manager.
Yes, so this was included in the last report. This ordinance here would consolidate the 2 properties for the condo development. This was first read at the last meeting.
Yes, so any further discussion about this? Okay, very good. Alderman Lentz.
I'll introduce Bill 6902, lot consolidation plat for 8220 and 8260 Forsyth Boulevard, the Forsyth Curve project, to be read for the second time by title only.
Second.
Any discussion? Oh, Ms. City Attorney.
Bill number 6902, an ordinance providing for the approval of a plat to consolidate certain property located on Forsyth Boulevard in the city of Clayton, Missouri.
Alderman Lentz,
Aye.
Alderman Berkowitz,
Aye.
Alderwoman McAndrew,
Aye.
Alderwoman Buse,
Aye.
Alderwoman Patel,
Aye.
Alderman Fader,
Aye.
and Mayor Harris.
Aye.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, well, great. Congratulations on that. Okay, good. So the next thing on the agenda is another public hearing. This would be for the rezoning and PUD for Forsyth and Central mixed use. And I can open the public hearing and request proof of publication. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a request for a public hearing to solicit input regarding the rezoning and related plan unit development for proposed mixed-use development. The rezoning, plan unit development, and subdivision plat are being addressed together in this report, though the plat and land use elements entail separate ordinances on the board's agenda. The project received architectural review board approval, and the Plan Commission recommended approval of the site plan, lot consolidation, rezoning, and development plan on June 6, 2022. The 38,505 square foot site includes 7 parcels and an alley. The site is located southeast of the intersection of South Central Avenue and Forsyth Boulevard, adjacent to the St. Louis County Surface Parking Lot. The properties have a zoning designation of HDC, High Density Commercial District, and are located in the Northeast Downtown Overlay District. The site is currently improved with 2-story buildings and an alley. Adjacent land uses include retail, office, and governmental. Planned unit developments are a distinct zoning district, and therefore an application to rezone the subject property from HDC and Northeast Downtown Overlay District to a planned unit development district was filed by the developer. The developer also filed a subdivision plat for the consolidation of 7 lots into 1 lot and to shift the public alley to allow for the development of the proposed mixed-use building. The proposed project consists of the demolition of the existing buildings, relocation of the existing north-south alley, and the construction of a 25-story mixed-use building with restaurant, retail, hotel, condominium, and parking uses. The proposed development includes construction of 180 hotel rooms, 73 condominium units, and 430 parking spaces. Off-street parking for the public and hotel guests is located in an above-grade structured parking, while private parking for the condominiums is located in a below-grade garage. The building will total 601,690 square feet. The total height of the new structure, as measured from the existing average grade to the top of the flat roof, is 293 feet and 6 inches. And the mechanical screening extends approximately 16 feet above the flat roof. Access to the parking garage is proposed off of South Central Avenue at the southwest corner of the site. Pedestrian entries to the condominium use and the retail space are located on Forsyth Boulevard, while access to the restaurant, hotel, and other public spaces is provided at the intersection along South Central Avenue. A loading dock is proposed along the relocated alley along the east side of the site. City's standard streetscape will be installed along the project limits on Forsyth Boulevard and South Central Avenue. The proposed project includes modifications to the public right-of-way. The first is shifting the north-south alley east along Forsyth Boulevard to be located between the new structure and the existing structure at the corner of Forsyth Boulevard and South Bemiston Avenue. That would be the former Bank of America building that is now a Simmons Bank building. The second modification is to close the existing northern access drive to the adjacent surface parking lot along South Central Avenue. The project seeks relief from certain development standards that are set forth in the current zoning district, HDC, and other requirements of the Northeast Development Overlay District, or NDO. A PUD must provide public benefits to the surrounding neighborhoods and to the city above and beyond what can be reasonably achieved by application of the zoning provisions applicable to the original district. The Board of Aldermen may approve alternatives to the zoning regulations, subdivision regulations, or design standards applicable to the property proposed to be rezoned to PUD in exchange for developer-provided public benefits. All PUDs shall provide at least one public benefit or combination of public benefits that total at least 10 points. After the minimum of 10 points are achieved, for each code alternative requested thereafter, the developer shall provide a public benefit or combination of public benefits totaling at least 5 points. For this project, a minimum of 30 points must be obtained. The developer has requested 40 points. Staff recommended 37 points be provided, and the Plan Commission recommended the developer be awarded 38.5 points for the proposed public benefits. 3 tables are included in the packet. There's a table listing the specific code alternatives requested by the developer, a table containing the public benefit points requested by the developer and recommended by staff and the Plan Commission, and a third table that contains the points awarded to previously approved PUD projects. Staff has also provided an analysis of each point category and the rationale for the recommended points. The approval criteria are set forth in the ordinance and designed to achieve the objectives as set forth in the zoning code. The Plan Commission may recommend and the Board of Aldermen may adopt modifications to the requirements contained in the zoning regulations and subdivision regulations as part of its consideration approval of a PUD. In considering and acting upon development plans, landscape plans, and other applicable plans, the Board of Aldermen shall take the following objectives into consideration through the PUD process. That would be the downtown master plan, open space and landscaping, external and internal circulation, design, utilities, buffering, natural features, site layout and land use, compliance with all other applicable codes and ordinances, architectural preservation, points, and public welfare. A detailed analysis of each of these objectives was included in the written staff report. Again, the properties have a zoning designation of HDC, High Density Commercial District, and are located in the Northeast Downtown Overlay District. Rezoning to a mixed-use PUD is allowed only in areas where the existing zoning designation is non-residential. The proposed buildings total 50,000 gross square feet or more and are located in overlay districts requiring or allowing PUD designation. A mixed-use PUD must contain a reasonable ratio of areas devoted to distinct land use categories as determined by the Board of Aldermen and the exercise of its legislative discretion. The first floor of any mixed-use building shall include commercial land uses with public entrances to these uses from an adjoining street. Non-residential uses are also allowed on other floors of a mixed-use building. The proposed development will provide a desired mixed-use development at a prominent corner in downtown. The development aligns with the vision of the downtown master plan and includes a variety of uses that will help generate visitors and pedestrian traffic throughout the day. The development represents a unique and efficient design conforming to the requirements of a PUD. Staff is of the opinion that the permitted uses, public benefits, and design of the site and building are compatible with the code and the context of the neighborhood. Staff recommends that the Board of Aldermen approve the rezoning and plan unit development per the required development commitments set forth in the ordinance Exhibit C, Forsyth Central PUD document. Staff recommends that the Board of Aldermen approve the subdivision plat with the conditions set forth in the ordinance for adoption.
Okay, that was quite a report.
It is.
Okay, I think that what we want to do now is open our discussion, but would the developer like to come forward and do a presentation first, or what's your plan?
We do have a presentation, so it's the Forsyth and Central BOA PowerPoint. But first, I want to thank you for approving our other project. Thank you very much for doing that. We appreciate it. We're not going to let you down. So I'm David with Midas, but this is a Midas and Green Street JV partnership, this project. It's a big project. So first off, just want to kind of give you an aerial of the market. And when we started this project over a year ago. We've been working on it a long time. And back then, when we started looking at the design, we looked at Clayton and felt like that there really wasn't a lot. I love Clayton, but the high rises didn't distinguish themselves to us. Okay, just being honest. So we wanted to make sure that we went out and when we were proposing a building, that it was something we were extremely proud of, and that, 20, 30, 40 years from now, it was still going to stand out as something very special, may even become the emblem on the Clayton flag. Okay, so, but we wanted to do something distinguished. We want to do something very special, something that, we live here too, and we wanted to be very proud of it. So this is kind of an architectural rendering of what our building will look like in the center here. You can see just even through this that it is uniquely different than a lot of the other buildings that are around us. We charged our architect with really doing something special, something that wasn't just a box, something that had a lot of ins and outs, a lot of shadows, a lot of texture to it, something that would look really cool, and something, like I said, that we could be all proud of. So Tom Young is our architect. I was going to have him go through some slides that kind of show you what our inspiration was and where we started a year ago to kind of get to where we are today. Tom?
So Tom Young with HDA Architects. How y'all doing? So is there a way I can flip slides, or does somebody? So because this isn't the architecture review board, I think I wanted to just share some some precedents with the group, just to say this is the inspiration that leads to our design. And what you'll see in all these projects is award-winning international design firms. So this project is the Summit development. It's in, I couldn't pronounce the province in China, but it's a beautiful project by Getch Partners, which is headquartered out of Chicago. But a lot of these projects are going to see similar qualities. One is it's an orthogonal design. So by orthogonal, I mean rectilinear. They're highly engineered buildings, great proportions. It's not just a glass building. There's mullion caps and subtle details, and that's what makes them great. So just an example, that's one from Getch Partners. Let me see if I can get this to work. Another one, this is 155 North Wacker in Chicago. Again, one thing I love about this building is just the systems. It's a major structural move at the base of the building, but everything above that, they just use recesses and shadow lines and balconies to create more, simplistic, kind of better proportions massing. And then subtle details like the fins that run up the side of the building, that these blades that run and are expressed through the architecture. So again, just subtle detailing that's timeless and executed well. This is a project by Gensler, similar orthogonally designed building, but they do something interesting with the composition. So by projecting the floor plates at certain levels and using different curtain wall and window wall systems, they create kind of an interest in that facade. And in particular, something we're trying to do with our project is this illuminated band and create a beacon at that corner of our project. So you'll see that in some later slides. SOM out of Chicago, international design firm, and they have a ton of great projects, again, that are just well detailed, thoughtful facade systems. They're wrapped beautifully. This is a project out of New York. It's a hotel and residences, so similar to our development. Very high end and very beautiful if you see it in person. SCB, they have firms all over the country, but do international work. This is a project out of Chicago, the Legacy at Millennium Park. Again, a simple structure, orthogonal, rectilinear moves, but strong recesses expressed through balconies, so shadow lines, depth, and just some nicely detailed features throughout the building. This is another mixture hotel condominium developed. Again, I selected this, again, orthogonal planning, and it had a beacon, something we're trying to emulate on our project at the corner. Similar SCB project, just again, how they shift the facade to kind of change the proportions and elongate certain systems within that facade. Lowe's Hotel out of Chicago as well. So just strong moves made over the entire facade and expressing the different programmatic elements was something we tried to emulate with our project as well, and we'll get into that later. But just nicely detailed systems. These projects aren't by any of the firms I mentioned, but again, trying to create something interesting at the cap of our building that's illuminated and becomes a kind of a signature feature of the site.
Thank you, Tom.
Yep.
Can I ask, you used a word multiple times
Yeah.
that I'm not familiar with. I don't know if it was
Orthogonal?
orthogonal.
Yeah.
can
So
you
just rectilinear planning. So it's not, we don't have a ton of curves on our building or angled facades. And I think part of that is just trying to create something that's nicely detailed and subtly detailed, but like timeless. So I guess, does that make sense?
Does it mean having like right angles?
Correct, right
Okay.
angles. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Appreciate it.
Right angle.
So anyways, just want to kind of, this is, now we're getting into our building. So this is what our building will look like. And there's a night view on the right, obviously, and a day view on the left, looking from basically from Forsyth. And that lower box then, so again, we really wanted Tom and his team to do something unique here. And so that bottom half is really where the hotel resides. The upper half with all the balconies is where the 72 condos are. And then we'll show you in a little bit where but at the top, and this came out of the ARB meeting, was that they wanted us to add something to the top to really kind of distinguish it. And so we added that top light that you can see on the right-hand side. And at night, we think that's going to really show nicely for the skyline of Clayton. You know, it's going to, because we're at the highest point here. We're going to be something that people can see from a distance. And we think that it will have some real uniqueness and really be distinctive. This kind of shows you how we've added that height there at the top and kind of comparing it to some other projects that Tom was looking at when he was designing this. And this, again, this is what it will look like at night. Okay, so you can kind of see how it will be lit up in the evening. And kind of, again, from a distance, it's going to have some great impression, and people are going to be wanting to know what's going on over there. This is a view looking down from Central, kind of, and this was something the ARB requested, a kind of view from this side, but you can kind of see again how this thing is not just a shoebox on its end. I mean, this has a lot of ins and outs, a lot of shadow lines, a lot of different, that middle section there is an outdoor balcony that will be available to the resident who happens to have units on that floor. So that's a giant balcony that wraps all the way around the building. At the top, underneath the roof that he has up there, that will be the condos common areas. So there will be a pool up there, a great room, fitness, everything that will be private for the 72 condo owners. So they'll be up on the rooftop there with their amenities under that space. This is a view from, if you're looking at the building on the first level on Forsyth. So on the left, we will have retail spaces on the left. Kind of in the middle then will actually be the residence entrance for the condos. There'll be a private entrance. They have their own private elevators. That will be just their entrance there to get to their homes. And then up on the corner at Central and Forsyth, we will have, will be our restaurant and bar will be on that corner. Our vision there is that it really will kind of spill into the outside, and we'll have outdoor bistro seatings. We'll have a bar on the inside on that corner. We've actually pushed the building in on the first level. So I'll show you some pictures a little bit later, but we've pushed it back to make it more pedestrian friendly. We really widened the pedestrian aisles outside of this building by pushing that first floor back in and giving us some really nice spaces and widening the sidewalks. So this is what it will look like from Central. So again, the rectangular on the right there is actually our garage. So we've hidden the garage behind the glass, so it doesn't look like a garage. Some parking is in the basement. All the condo owners will have lower level parking. The public area parking is on the upper decks. On top of the garage, you can kind of see the greenscape there. We've got about a 6,000 square foot outdoor living area up there that will be open to the public, so they can come up and sit up there if they would like. It'll also be adjacent to a rooftop bar on this level, which is kind of that space you see in the middle there with some dots, some white dots. That's kind of the entrance or the view looking out of the rooftop bar. Also on that level, we'll have event space that will seat 300 or 400 people. You can kind of see the valet where that white car is. That will be the valet off of Central. So we've kind of blocked that off to try and keep people from parking right in front there. We want to be able to have the valet be moving cars in and out as quickly as possible. And then the entrance for the garage is over on the right-hand side next to what is now the county's surface parking lot. So we've also discussed with the county and got an agreement to be able to close one of their exits or entrances going out of their parking lot right next to us. Again, to try and make sure that it's pedestrian friendly, so there's not as many cars coming in and out onto Central as there are today. This is a really nice view of the corner, and you can kind of see how we've recessed back in that first level. We've got the bistro seating on the corner there, and then there'll be a bar right inside that corner space. We've curved that corner. Everybody wanted something to curve on this thing, so we finally got a curve on the corner there, and it turned out really nice, and I think will be a nice attraction as people are walking around. Along Forsyth, because we're right at Main and Main here, we've had discussion with the ARB about widening the sidewalk here. And so the typical sidewalk standard is 6 foot. We've widened it 1.5 feet, but we've also added some greenery right there, some planters to kind of break up this space so it doesn't feel like a concrete island out here with the, so we've widened it up so that people can walk a little bit easier. And then this would be the side of the garage facing what is now the county's surface lot. Okay, so we have really tried to do something cool here with art on the side of this building, with the understanding that someday that site may be developed, but for the near future, we wanted to dress up the garage so it didn't look just like a garage. It would look we would have something really kind of tasteful on the side of it for people to see. You can kind of see the outdoor living space where those trees are up on the 7th floor there. And then where that art is right above that is where our ballroom will be, our event center. And so that brings us back to our night view and kind of gives you an idea of what we're proposing. So thank you.
Great.
I do have a animation if I can show that too. Do you mind? So
Let's see it.
I think we called it Montgomery Streetscape animation.
Artwork on the south side. It was clear in the presentation. I don't know if you guys caught that, but that's to be determined. The graphic.
Okay. I didn't know that. I thought maybe that was it. Honestly, it's similar things have been proposed by others before. So, but yeah, that's great.
That's the old one. So go up. 614. Be dated 6/14.
Yep.
The
that's
one- No, go down. Fourth from the, in it right, the next one up.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, yeah, absolutely.
No, where's that?
Doesn't say animation.
It's going to be that one.
Yeah,
That says 6/8.
yes, the one you're on. I think.
Thank you.
Oh.
All right.
Playing.
So here, yeah, you're good. Thank you for your help.
It's a slideshow right now. It's not an animation.
It'll eventually.
It'll eventually.
Yeah.
Oh. Is this-
Ira, can you see it?
Ira, can you see the animation? Okay, we can't hear you, Ira, if you're talking.
Well, like you said, it's a slideshow. Now I'm seeing somebody's,
Yeah, he could
Okay,
see
but
it.
it started moving at one point. Did you see that?
I did not.
Yeah, so again, just what it would look like from Central.
This is just a slide. I can see slide. Yeah, it's like fading and then.
Bear with me, Ira, it's coming.
Okay.
Okay. I think you're seeing it, yeah.
All right, so now it's going to start. This is the new
There you
alley
go.
off to the left there where we'll get deliveries. You can kind of see the retail to your left there. Then we walk up the sidewalk, and then as you get up to the middle, you can see the landscape we put on the left again to try and soften the street a little bit. Then you'll also notice a lot of the same people here were at our other site. And so,
Small town.
They like Green
Right.
Street.
so this is the residence entrance right here where we'll have a private entrance to get to them. And then you can kind of see where the outdoor seating will be. And again, how we recessed that first level out to get some outdoor seating off of our restaurant and bar. Again, the goal here was to really bring the neighborhood in. Okay, that was really our goal when we were designing this thing, is we wanted it to be very interactive with the neighborhood and create a lot of traffic and a lot of interaction.
Architecture you see on the interior, that's for now just for the rendering. We're working with an interior design firm out of New York that's planning a pretty awesome space.
I can't hear that person.
Sorry, I was just saying the interior, the animation is just kind of for rendering sake, but we are working with an interior design firm out of New York that's working on actually populating our model with all their.
Mhm.
All right, you can shut her down. That's, well, there's a nice picture at the end, but that's it. So, all right, that was it.
Great.
Thank you for your time. So,
Okay, yeah. All right. Let's then open up for discussion. I don't see any more. Are there people in the audience that have questions or concerns that are here? Okay. Let's talk about it a little bit. Thoughts? Anybody? I'll start with Rich.
Sure. Actually, my first reaction was that I was disappointed that with all the work we did with our overlay district, there wasn't a setback and that we were asking for points to go to not have a setback. That said, when I saw the rendering, it was exactly what I wanted to have come out of our discussions. I had argued for many weeks and meetings about letting people have that recessed space at the first floor rather than building up to the property line and then doing a step back later. So good job. It's exactly what I wanted.
that was all me.
Although, even though I should be fighting for the process we went through, but I still think it'd be great. So the only other question I have is about this top light situation and what exactly you're proposing there? I mean,
The outdoor living area, so we're top.
you talked about the light at the top. What exactly are we discussing? I'm unclear about that.
So I don't know if we can pull up a reference image, but at the original architectural review board meeting, we didn't actually have an illuminated piece. We were uplighting the architectural element or trellis feature.
Okay.
So it'd be more subtle. But some comments that came out of our initial review was it'd be nice to have some feature that was at that corner. So what we ended up doing was we extended the mechanical screen and made it glass.
Okay.
And we were gonna backlight that fritted glass. And that's why I included some of those precedent images.
All right.
And then just below that would be partially fritted glass because the condo owner's amenity space is beyond that. So we thought with illumination activity would illuminate that frit, but they would still have some transparency for vision outside of that space. So if we had an image up, I could show that. I didn't know. It was, if you went to that PowerPoint,
What does frit mean?
it's basically like, it's like a ceramic. It could either be a dotted pattern or a linear pattern. That basically it's applied to the glass and it creates the white banding that you see. So again, some of those reference images I shared, it's not just a glass building. There's several layers of detail that we're applying to it. So there's more richness. But that's what the vertical pieces of that upper element are.
Okay.
But again, it was a comment that came out of the ARB, and so we were just trying to respond to it.
The only reason I was asking is I'm all for the distinction of having something there. But I also know that we need to be mindful of the light pollution, particularly during certain times of the year when birds are migrating and all that. So I just didn't want to make sure it wasn't going to be something we couldn't manage, if you will. And I guess the other question, you mentioned a rooftop bar up there on the terrace area.
On actually the 7th floor. So it's on the roof of the, it'd be underneath part of the tower.
Okay.
But then opens up to that outdoor living area.
Okay, but you're talking about a bar, not a restaurant.
It's a bar that serves a little bit of food. Okay, it's more B&F than
Okay.
F&B.
We just need to look at the entertainment district criteria and make sure we got the right thing there. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bar with light, with some entertainment. It's
Okay.
a single duo kind of environment.
For the bar,
Yeah.
it was about 3,500 square feet. Plus or minus, we're working on programming it now in kitchen space, small kitchen space. Some of that.
I think it's a great amenity to have up there. I just want to make sure that we're in conformance with our ordinance. That's all. Thanks.
Good point. Okay, Ira, I can't see you, but do you have comments or questions?
Why can't you see me? Can you hear me?
Because I'm looking at the rendering and so they're
Oh, and
sharing the rendering. We can hear you.
Oh, it hides me. Okay, I didn't know. All right. Yeah, just a few comments, guys. This is one of the most, well, this is clearly a unique use. We have not had hotels with condos on top. If I can recall anything in Clayton, I don't. It's a venture, new venture for us. I can't say that I love your design, but I can say that that it's good enough type of thing. I know that you've shown us some others, and I wouldn't mind having some of those others that you showed. But I understand what you're trying to do here, and you did listen to the ARB members who talked about your design, and I think you really have come a long way with it. So I'm willing to support what you've done. So, but it's really a magnificent project altogether. Otherwise, the retail underneath, I echo Rich's comments. I really wanted to have that, that recessed, area for better sidewalking. You've done all that. I think that's great. And so I think it's a great project. I don't think I got a chance to ask you at the last ARB, at the ARB meeting. Are you putting in any ADA compliant units? And does the hotel have ADA compliant rooms?
Yeah, so the hotel's a Hilton branded hotel, so it will have the appropriate number of ADA units. Basically, there's an ADA unit for every room type that we have. So this building probably has 12 to 15 ADA units, all different shapes and sizes and all different views, because we have to accommodate the ADA folks with the same views and room types as we would a person who doesn't have a disability. And then we'll have the same thing on the condos too. And then obviously the public space will all be accessible.
Right, okay. Yeah, no, I like what you've got going here. So I really don't have any comments or other questions.
Thank you.
Bridget, any comments, questions? Oh, she's gone.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's
I guess she doesn't have any comments or questions. then. I'm going to move on to Susan. Anything? wanna mention?
Yeah, just one quick thing that Rich brought up, because we've been reading articles that we're in the corridor of migration, and certain times of the
Yeah.
year you turn off lights around the top of a building, and things like that. So I think you addressed that, and that's something that could be worked out. Yeah, it's a lot to take in, and it's an impressive project. That's
Thank
what I've
you.
got right now.
Becky, comments?
Thanks. I have two areas of comment, and one is along the lines of what Rich and Susan said. So I just want to be clear about the glass in general, like what your plan is in terms of using like bird-safe glass, or, I mean, I think what was the word, frit? Like that kind of stuff can make it safer and reduce bird strikes, but can you talk about how you incorporate that throughout the whole building? And then, or if you do at this point?
At this point, I don't know if I have an adequate response, but we could definitely do a bit of research on our end. I mean, it's not like a reflective glass, highly reflective glass. There'll be some transparency to it, but we think by unifying like all the roller shade assemblies, like we added that to the rendering to show there will be some subtlety of like a playful facade. So I don't know if that would help bird strikes or not, but I think the intention is that it shouldn't look like a reflective office building that you can't tell what's going on beyond it. If that makes sense.
And then the other thing, I'd just like to talk a little bit more about the 7th floor terrace. So the bar is 3,500 square feet, and you said, I think 6,000 square feet open to the public. Is
Outdoor
that
space.
inclusive or?
Two separate spaces.
Yeah, okay. And so the open to the public is like, it's not like you have to be at the bar, buying something at the bar to
No.
be in this public space.
No, it's a public space.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, it is a space that we believe the condo owners and the hotel guests will use, right? It's not,
Absolutely.
if they want to read a book, work on their laptop, or have a cocktail, they can sit out there, but we're opening it up so that if there's a resident who wants to walk in the building, take the elevator will not restrict them from going to the 7th floor. It will restrict them from going anywhere else, okay? But it will not restrict them from going to the 7th floor. If they want to sit out there, we're fine with that.
That's awesome. I love that. Have you, San Francisco in particular has this thing they call POPOs, privately owned public open spaces. And I think it's super cool. And I think like, and I mean, there's like websites you can go to when you're visiting the city to see like, what are the privately owned public open spaces
That's
I can go
cool.
to? And you can like get to interesting places all around the city. Some of them are tiny and some of them are big, and some of them are on ground level and some of them are up high. Anyways, I think it's really cool, and we should do more of it. And I love that you're doing that. Thank you.
Terrific.
We started expressing that 7th floor bar, and then highlighting with, there would be some exterior like seating underneath that 7th floor like terrace. Just we're trying to draw people's attention and know that they can go up there and make it friendly. And I don't know if we've gone into this detail, but that restaurant use at that 1st floor will be three meals. And that's part of the brand requirement. So you can go in there for breakfast and get a coffee and go up there. So
Awesome.
it should be pretty straightforward for
Yeah, we need that.
Thank you.
Alderman Fader.
Well, I'm generally very supportive. The one thing I really would like to see more of, without putting you guys to too much work, is you've shown us everything, but when it comes to the 7th floor, all I see is there are a bunch of trees up there on the 7th floor. I still have no sense of what this area is going to look like, what the connection is to the event space. I think I think that is a big selling point on this. And I think if we're going to do more, I'd like to see more about how this lays out. I think it addresses a number of the questions that have been raised about how this works. Because my biggest concern is if it's going to be presented as sort of open to the public, I think the idea of having a 25-story building and people are somehow going to find it inviting to go to the 7th floor of a building that is essentially apartment, condos, and a hotel, I would think the whole thing is pretty intimidating. I don't think I'd be rushing up to the 7th floor. I certainly wouldn't go there at this point just to sit and read a book. I mean, I think that's naive to think anybody's going to do that. So I'd like to be sold a little bit more on how the 7th floor works.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to make you go up there, okay? But we do think, we do think, because, I mean, you guys got a beautiful park right down the streets, right? I mean, you got a giant park right down the street. So, you guys are very fortunate to have that. But we do think that there will be some people that will figure this out and will enjoy going up there, and because it will have some views that you don't have anywhere else in Clayton, right? And you'll be able to look out. So that space in the bottom left-hand corner is that outdoor living area. Okay, so the ballroom where all those round circles are, that's the ballroom on the right. And so the left, so it will be a lot of trees, a lot of soft seating. It's really going to be lush. I mean, and so and some trellises. It's really meant to be just a lot of casual 2- and 4-top seats where people can kind of hang out. So I understand, Gary. I mean, I don't know what the use is going to be. I'll be honest with you. But we wanted to try and do something, and we thought that this was a good thing to do.
I think it's a great concept. I'd just like to see a little bit more, maybe a rendering that would something that goes beyond what we're looking at on the screen to give people a sense of what this is going to feel like.
Yeah, let me work on that. I don't have a beautiful rendering of that space. That just wasn't.
Okay, I'd accept something even less than beautiful.
Yeah, and so let me work on getting something. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, to jump back in here. This looks absolutely beautiful. And part of that, in other city work, one of the voices that keeps coming forward and that's being researched is keeping a diversity in our housing stock so that we are accessible to all different people and ages and everything else to keep and it goes with the vibrancy of our city and the welcome of our city. So as you develop these condos and everything else, are they, what are your ranges of sizes and cost and everything else?
So the condos are basically 2,500 is about the smallest, 2,500 square feet condos. I mean, we have if somebody wants, we haven't sold a condo yet, so we have anywhere from 2,500 to the whole top floor, right? Which would be about 6,000. Is that right? 10,000 on the top floor. I don't think anybody's buying that, okay? But we could do that if that's what the demand. It just takes one, right? If that's what the demand is, then that's what we will do. But to answer your question, they'll be luxury apartments, okay, is really what they will be. I mean, we're going to have luxury amenities. This is done in a lot of other large metropolitan areas where you have a condo and hotel on top of each other, and the condo guests or the condo residents have access to the amenities of the hotel, right? They've got a restaurant down there. They've got valet, laundry, dry cleaning, if that's what they want, room service, even housekeeping. So we think that this will be an upscale condo community. So.
And you probably don't know, but the demographic of not you think of it generally older. It really wouldn't be a family type draw.
I mean,
or what's your
the
projections?
marketing folks are telling us that this is a more mature in couple. Okay, typically maybe someone who has lived in Clayton, now downsizing but they still want to be in Clayton, right? They want to have the amenities of Clayton. This is home. And so it is more of a, I would say an empty nester, okay, is really kind of the couple that's probably there. These are also people that may have a residence here and a residence in Florida or something, right? I mean, that's kind of the target.
It's pretty much the same people at Maryland Walk.
Probably so. And you. So you can come too. You can stay there. You can get one. So, so- No, I didn't. Yeah,
Japan, they coined a new phrase for demographic purposes. And so instead of, if you're under 75 but over 60, you're nearly old,
nearly old.
nearly old. So you can go for that group. Okay, is that the last of the board? Because I just have a couple things. I am, generally super excited about this project. I love what you're doing on the ground floor. I really think you've designed something that's, for the most part, really beautiful, and it's going to be different from what we've seen before in Clayton. And I love the condo hotel concept. I think it's going to be in great demand. I know we need condos, and having the hotel there as an amenity is terrific. I have, I'm, the thing that I'm concerned about is that this is going to be the highest point in Clayton. So no matter where you approach Clayton from, northeast, south, or west, probably all those directions, you're going to see it. And it's going to be the most prominent thing in our skyline. And right now, if I drive in on, as I do a lot of times, I'm heading east on Clayton Road, and I can start seeing our skyline from that perspective. And I can see the Plaza Condo building, and I can see the Clayton on the Park, and those are two very distinctive points that are different from all of the other rectangles that are there. And even though those rectangles have lights, that doesn't make them a focal point or something that I would call a sort of a landmark for our city. And I think all along, we've talked a lot in the past, just among ourselves, about how we want to encourage, different architecture. I mean, I don't know that we want the Tulip building, the 100, but something else, and so I guess I'm not convinced that the top of the building gets there for me in terms of having some kind of shape that will add to our skyline, that will add something different and unique to it. Because I know you've done a lot of detail, and I appreciate that. And I know that part is beautiful, but it's still orthogonal. It's still rectangular, and everything in Clayton is rectangular. And so I'm not saying curves necessarily, but I guess I'm challenging you to think about this just a little bit more and see if there's some other tweak to it that you could do that would really make it different, from just the four corners and just the light, because everything has lights now, and yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I hear you, and I respect that. And we've, the project has evolved a lot, especially through the ARB, right? And so we got to that, and we're very proud of this building. So I don't want you to, I mean, we live here too, and we want something nice too. I mean, our people live here. We're very proud of this building. And I'm not an architect like Tom, but I don't want it to be ornamental either, right? I mean, I want it to be clean. I want it to have good lines. And I think that we've accomplished that. Okay. I mean, I understand. And we went through this with the ARB. There's a lot of opinions there. Okay. And so we finally have got to this, and we got a unanimous vote on the ARB, which I was pretty excited about. And so I was, I mean, I respect your opinion. I really do. But I really don't want to go back to the drawing board, just being honest, because I think we've really worked hard to do something special.
Well, one thing that I think would be really helpful is if you could show us how this looks in the skyline. If you could, you've done a great job of 3D modeling or, all those animations, but is there a way to show the perspective of this building's place in our skyline and how it will stand out and be unique?
Yeah, I think we can figure that out? Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that
we
would
can
help.
figure that
The
out.
views
So-
that we have right now, I mean,
Yeah.
it's tough.
And we'll
to
show
see
some
that.
birds up there, okay, just see if they run into the building. But yes, we will make sure we can add it to the skyline, and I think it's going to show very nice, Mayor.
Okay.
So
Well,
we'll do that
I'm
for you.
hoping it will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that my impression, as I say, when I looked at it with this lens that I thought we needed something different because of our overlay that we spent all this time on. My impression when I looked at it was, my gosh, this is a real big city building. So I do believe that it is a very nice building. And I guess I'm not as concerned about it as the mayor is, that it's not going to play well, I guess. And so I do like it. And I guess I'm also not really personally willing to second guess the ARB
Yeah,
at this point.
I know all that.
I do believe this building is going to be something that people point to and they want to emulate in Clayton. I mean, I think this is going to be something that's transformational at this location. I really do believe that. So.
Okay,
Can
well,
I-
maybe
can
it
I say
can.
something too, Mayor?
Yeah, oh, yes, Ira, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I agree wholeheartedly with what you said. I agree with the mayor on this. You know, we are trying really hard to try and, you know, we've got new buildings coming in and we need something that, you know, we really would like to see something very special, as you pointed out when you first started talking about it. And when you said it, because I knew what the building looked like, I thought, this is not very, very special. It's not. It's okay. It's good. It's nice, you know. But, you know, we really do want to have a point where we're looking at really special architecture. And I don't think this wins that prize. I think it's okay. We can, you know, I mean, it won't kill the city to have it, but, you know, I just think, I agree with the mayor that it misses that specialness. And it will be the biggest, tallest, most visible building, because you're already on an upside and you've got it pretty high. And I think her suggestion was merely take a look at at the highest point and see if you can do something with that. We're not asking you to go back to drawing board and create a whole new, you know, building. That's I don't think that's even anything she was suggesting. I agree with her point about, at least at the top, let's get something that's a little more attractive and a little more special architecturally. Because I think it would be, I mean, I think you'll all be proud of it, we'll all be proud of it, but at least give it a shot, you know, because right now it's not, I'm not wowed at this point. So that's all I got to say.
Okay. The only other thing I want to ask, and you may be sorry you volunteered this on the last project, but do you think you might irrigate your street trees?
Yes, you will do that. So.
Great. All right, well, I don't know exactly where we are. We could have a first reading and look at the points that Plan Commission awarded and kind of use that. If we think most of those fit, we could have a first reading, and then, but I know that we do not want to do a second reading tonight in the interest of transparency and allowing the most amount of time for residents and others to come in and weigh in. And I know that there are time pressures facing you, and we appreciate that so much, but I think we're gonna wait to do the second reading. But I'm trying to get a sense from the board if you would like to go ahead and do the first reading. Oh, and I guess, should I do that first? Okay, let me do that. Thank you, June. So first, before that, we've had our discussion. I'm going to close the public hearing. Done. Do you want to do the first reading, folks?
I'm comfortable with that. I feel like the things that we've asked to maybe get some more information on aren't really big changes to the project, but just to give us kind of that, like, what will the skyline look like? What will the terrace look like a little bit more? Maybe research the glass and the lighting impact on the birds. Like
I would
that's,
agree.
yeah,
I would agree.
I'm comfortable.
Anybody, is there anybody that doesn't want to do the first reading?
I'd be supportive of first reading. I'm not sure about whether we should go through the point analysis. It seems
Yeah.
to me, since we've asked the developer to do a bunch of things, it would make more sense to defer that part until the next meeting.
I don't see anything that we've talked about that would change much in the point system, so I don't think that's the issue.
Right. I agree. So, but I do agree that we might as well just wait on that. So, I think if that's okay with everybody, we will go ahead and ask Alderman Lentz to introduce the bill.
I'll introduce Bill 6903, an ordinance to approve a rezoning and PUD for 7808, 7814 to 7820 Forsyth Boulevard, 4 to 8, 10, 10 to 16, 18 to 20 South Central Avenue for a mixed-use development to be read for the first time by title only.
Second.
Alderman Lentz, I would point out that if we want to add the street tree irrigation, that this would probably be a. What's that?
With the condition that the street trees will also be irrigated.
Okay. Can we have a second again? Second.
Second.
All right. Any other discussion? Okey doke. Ms. City Attorney.
Bill number 6903, an ordinance providing for the rezoning of certain property located at 7808, 7814 through 7820 Forsyth Boulevard, 4 through 8, 10, 14 through 16, 18 through 22 South Central Avenue from HDC High Density Commercial District and Northeast Downtown Overlay District to a planned unit development district to be known as the Forsyth Central Mixed Use Planned Unit District, providing for the change in the zoning map of the city of Clayton, Missouri, approving a planned unit development for the subject property and other actions relating thereto.
All right. Are we going to call the roll? Or we have it?
First reading.
Oh, that's right. So we don't have to call the roll. All right. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, very good. So that was a unanimous first read. So I think that bodes really well for the project. And you've heard up here that how much we all like it and appreciate all of the work that you've done to get to this. And I'm sorry that we have a few questions, but, again, I'm being honest with you about the top. So I hope you'll just take a look at it and also show us that skyline. Yeah. Phil. You may.
And I love working with Midas because they're first class like us in terms of what we're trying to do for our city. And I think I've spent a lot of time in an urban environment and how do you create the right place to have people come? And one of the things that we've realized how important it is to bring people, invite people into a space. And I think we're going to have one of the first venues where literally hundreds of people can come here to celebrate lots of different things, whether it's a wedding, corporate events, be part of the community, go up to a rooftop. If you go downtown, there are very few places or anywhere in our city that invite you out to a different view of what the neighborhood looks like. So when I do that, the only places I can think of are the Lowe's Hotel, which has a beautiful terrace that has really kind of, it's a wonderful place to get up and see the arch and be with friends. And there are a tremendous amount of events that go down there. And I think one of the things that we're trying to do here is enliven Clayton, so it doesn't stop at the end of the workday. And this hotel is going to be unique. It's going to be high end. It's going to be very inviting. We're going to have an incredible restaurant that will bring a whole set of energy that we don't see in our city other than one of the few places is Napoli's. And you see what that does in terms of chemistry. We need more places like that. The other thing I think, when you do a terrace, everybody likes to get up in space and see their neighborhood. And I think if you go to the Moonrise Hotel, it's another one of those that's unique. It's very inviting. You go up there and it's nothing but fun. And I think that's what we're trying to bring to Clayton, is to have that street life, that people stay there. And this is really what we're trying to do. And it really will transform. And we're going to do it probably in 3 or 4 places in the city that we're working on, the Armory, where we hope to bring in a couple million people. Think what that does to the dynamics of introducing people to have fun and enjoy, live, work, play. And that's part of what we're doing here, is the whole live, work, play, keeping people here 24/7. So I think keep that in mind, because that's really what we're trying to accomplish. And it's one of many projects that we hope to do here to do that.
I think that's great. And that just fits right along with our
Because we
strategic
tend
plan.
We come here, we leave.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. Yeah,
So
thank you.
That's our goal.
Thank you. That's awesome. Okay, I think we're, June, did you? Yeah, that's next on here. Okay, so, next on the agenda is the lot consolidation, the plat consolidation for you guys and and I'll open the public hearing and request proof of publication, and city manager has a report.
Yes, this was included in the last report. This is a consolidation of 7 lots for the aforementioned project.
All right. Is there any discussion? Right, I can close the public hearing then, and Alderman Lentz.
I'll introduce Bill 6904, an ordinance to approve a lot consolidation plat for 7808, 7814 to 7820 Forsyth Boulevard, 4 to 8, 10, 1016, 18 to 22 South Central Avenue for a mixed-use development to be read for the first time by title only.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, Ms. City Attorney.
Bill number 6904, an ordinance providing for the approval of a major subdivision plat to consolidate certain property located on Forsyth Boulevard and South Central Avenue and to relocate a public alley in the city of Clayton, Missouri.
All right, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. So I think along with the, the procedure on the PUD, we will do the first reading tonight, and we will take up the second reading at our next meeting. So, but unanimous again. So we thank you guys so much for all of your work, and thanks for staying here so late with us. Appreciate it. Appreciate it when developers are collaborative and good to work with. Really do. Take the rest of the night off. Unless you want to stay, we have a couple more items. Okay. I guess the last thing here is our appointments to boards and commissions, and the city manager has that report.
Yes, the following individuals have expressed interest in being appointed to or continuing to serve as a member on the following boards and commissions of the city. Mayor Harris has reviewed their applications and agrees with the recommendations for appointment or reappointment to the respective board or commission, and therefore submits the following nominations for the board's consideration. For the Community Equity Commission, Lauren Rodriguez Goldstein of Ward 2, Christine Schmies of Ward 2, Shantae Bolton of Ward 1, and then for Parks and Recreation Commission, Ben Beinfeld of Ward 1, and Daniel Hankey Salenti of Ward 1. And finally, the Sustainability Committee, Carol Klein of Ward 3.
Okay, great. So is there any discussion about any of these candidates? I can just say we've got some really stellar candidates in this mix, which is awesome. Of course, we've got lots of stellar candidates living in Clayton. Can you remind me that Carol? Oh, yes. Okay, thank you. Good thing June is here. So Carol is going to be completing an unexpired term that's vacated by Cheryl Riedel on sustainability. So, Fitz, you're looking at me and frowning.
Nope.
Okay.
June, do you have the expiration on that? 2024. All right, thank you.
Okay, good. All right. So if there are no further discussion points, Alderman Lentz.
And what we have is what correct wards. I mean, it's not
Yes,
correct
did you
on
get the
this.
revised
Well,
one?
maybe
Okay, there's a revised one. I'm sorry. I
great.
think, David, you read the revised, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, okay, good. All right, then I'll move to approve the appointments to the boards and commissions.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Very good. So that concludes our meeting. And I don't know if anyone has the energy to go around and share, but I'm happy to entertain it if you do. Rich. Okay. Should we come back to you? Oh, wow. Okay. That's going around these days. Yeah. That's it. Okay. Ira, anything from you?
No, you've all now basically shared my ARB meetings, so I don't have anything more to share with you other than what we've seen tonight, you know. So you're all caught up now. I don't have to share anything.
Oh, good. Okay, that's what we love. Okay, Susan.
Yeah, there was an equity commission meeting and Gary was stuck on a plane, I think in an airport. But the primary topic that night, which was too bad he missed it, was an affordable housing research looking at that. And it's really a diversity in housing study. And some of the conversation is there was some research done on our neighborhoods and how there were duplexes and multifamily and that moved towards single family and what that does to the vitality of a city. There was no vote or anything, just a discussion on the report. Did I miss anything on that?
I don't believe so.
Yeah. So, and that was why tonight in this discussion is if we keep looking at the city as a whole, what we really need to do, I look forward to us having that opportunity. But it was looking at our different neighborhoods.
Great. I just wanted to share that the city Parks and Rec, the staff, and CCF put on a great picnic in the park. It was really awesome at Shaw Park. I went to that. I don't know if it was like a week or two ago. And then I also went to an event for STL Artworks, which I've mentioned before, which is a new organization. I'm trying to figure out how we can work with a new organization, to me, not new, that like accepts commissions basically for young people from St. Louis to do art projects. So I think there's a lot of potential there for us to have them like engage with them on painting our utility boxes, murals. They've done pavement painting projects for traffic calming, all kinds of stuff like that. So just trying to keep that front of mind. So when an opportunity arises, we can try to do that. And progress is happening on the Demond mural. The wall has been fully tuck pointed. I ran into Robert Fishbone, just happened to be walking down the street when they were finishing the tuck pointing, and he said it's as close to drywall as you can get from a muralist perspective. So they're real excited to get started. The bushes have been removed, it looked like the other day when I walked by, to make room for them to work. And I think we're around I should say CCF is around halfway to the fundraising goal. It sounded like at last report, which is great. So
I think they're close, very close to the threshold in order to let them get started. It's
Yeah.
not their full funding goal,
Right.
but they're about where the artist can get to go ahead.
Yeah, so it's exciting. Thanks.
Gary Fader.
I went to the picnic in the park and the wine event this past weekend, which was fabulous. I thought probably the oldest person at both events, but nonetheless, both events were great. Just a quick anecdote. I went to Washington with my two teenage grandsons. Rob and I took them, but the highlight was we mentioned to our tour guide, we were from St. Louis, and he pointed out when we went to the Washington Monument, which I always thought looks like it's like the tallest building in the world. He said, you know, it's actually shorter than the arch in St. Louis. So the Washington Monument would actually fit under the arch, which I thought was a remarkable thing. And finally, because I saved the program, I attended the Municipal League annual event with the mayor on May 26th at the Airport Hotel. And what I found most fascinating in the program was that that organization has been around for 80 years, and Clayton mayor is clearly dominated during the first 20 years, in which there were 5 Clayton mayors who were president. And then there has been like a 60-year gap until our mayor now is the vice chair or the vice president and will be the president. So for the first time, I think in 60 years, we'll have a Clayton mayor as president of the Metro League. And it was a neat event to go to and a neat organization, seeing all these people from other communities and people from St. Louis County. And it really gives you, sometimes we get very insulated, but that really gave you a sense when you see all of these other cities represented in the same room. So anyway, it was a neat event, and congratulations to the mayor. So.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, everything's pretty much been covered. I just want to say, if you can pass on to the staff, I've gotten so much feedback on the Wine and Music Festival. People loved it. I'm just getting emails and phone calls and texts. It was great. I even got people texting me with pictures while they were there. So I only got to swing by there really because we had another event that night. So I won't miss it. I won't miss it next year. Just pass that along. It was really well done. Also, I just want to remind everybody that I won't be here to nag you about it, but Mayor's for Meals is June 20th through the 24th. And so I hope you will all drive to our facilities and drop off food and tweet about it and tell your friends. We want Clayton to have a strong showing. I think last year we were a little bit weak. So this year we need to come out strong. And we're going to have a drop at the police station and a drop at the center of Clayton. So there's plenty of opportunities for you to drop off your stuff. Right. That is all I have, and appreciate you guys so much. And I'm going to be out of here for a while. So Rich, have at it. You're the mayor while I'm gone. You know
Really?
that?
Anything.
If anything happens, call Rich. And David's going to be gone too part of that time.
That's right.
And
In June. we'll be
June
gone.
too. So Andrea,
It'll be-
it's the Andrea and Rich show. Okay.
Wow.
And Susan.
That's at the next meeting?
Huh?
When we get to approve all this other stuff too?
No, I'll be back for that. I'll be back the day before if all goes well, which it might not. So,
I move to adjourn.
yes,
Second.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you all.
Thanks.
Good night, Ira.